Chapter 601. It turned out that something so serious had happened. No wonder Mr. Qin was in such a hurry to go to T-City. Huamin and Qin Chu planned to spend the weekend at the castle. Huamin even bought some vegetable seeds from the market and planned to plant some vegetables with Qin Chu in the garden in front of the castle. Now, it seemed that the plan was ruined, but it was a big deal that someone died. Huamin was no longer in the mood for a vacation. She opened the window to get some fresh air. She clasped her hands together and prayed silently, "Please don't have any more casualties. Please rest in peace." She also hoped that Mr. Qin would be able to solve the problem. Imperial Star Headquarters, Su Yu was just about to get off work when An knocked on his door and walked in. "Boss, good news." "What is it?" Su Yu stood up, grabbed his jacket, and walked out. Something happened at GK's subsidiary company in T-City. Apparently, after the building was handed over, the building collapsed. 3 of the owners and renovation workers died and 9 were injured. The province is paying attention to this, and it's causing a lot of commotion. Qin Chu went there himself and might not be back for a while. The new company's opening is the day after tomorrow, so... And didn't need to say more. Su Yu was able to fully comprehend it. "Oh? Really?" Su Yu was slightly surprised. "Yeah, God is on our side. If we follow the plan, GK's film and television company won't be able to open by the day after tomorrow. If it goes down the drain, GK's reputation in the industry will plummet, and the stock market will be affected as well. This is a great opportunity." And smiled. Qin Chu is really unlucky this time. It seems like the winner has already been decided. How boring. Su Yu originally wanted to see if he could carry out his plan at the critical moment. With Qin Chu's intelligence, how was he going to deal with this? But now, it seemed like someone died in T-City, and it would take at least 3 days to deal with it. The new company's opening was the day after tomorrow. If Qin Chu couldn't come back, GK would be in a state of disunity. Su Yu, on the other hand, didn't gloat too much. He just felt that this outcome was already predestined. "Let everyone get off work early today," Su Yu instructed. "All right, I'll arrange it now." Su Yu left the company, got into his Lamborghini, and left. He ate and drank as usual, but if Qin Chu wasn't home, what was Huamin doing? Su Yu really wanted to look for her, but it was just a thought. After all, he couldn't take advantage of someone's perilous state. What he wanted was to openly snatch someone from Qin Chu's hands. Instead of harassing someone's wife while their backyard was on fire and their husband was not around. That would be too embarrassing. It wasn't something that Lord Su would do. Huamin was restless the entire night. She didn't even reply to Ling Ling's WeChat messages. "A young lady, dinner is ready. Do you want to eat downstairs or have it delivered here?" Butler Li asked politely. "I'm not eating, Uncle Li. I'm not hungry." Who would be in the mood to eat at a time like this? "Okay, I'll ask them to take it away. Whenever you're hungry, just let me know." Huamin nodded. Then she anxiously stood by the window. At this moment, she really wanted to do something for Qin Chu. But there was nothing she could do. Suddenly, her phone rang. It was Qin Chu. It had been 3 hours since he turned off his phone. It seemed like he had gotten off the plane. Honey, I saw the news." "T-City?" Huamin anxiously asked. "Don't worry, I'll take care of it." Qin Chu's tone was calm, just like usual. He didn't vent his anger on the people around him. He would never vent his anger on Huamin. "Thank you for your hard work. Take care of yourself." "I will." "Have you eaten yet?" Qin Chu asked. "No, I don't feel like eating. I'm worried about you." "Good girl, go eat. I'll take care of it soon. If you don't eat, I'll be more worried." "But I really don't have an appetite," Huamin quietly replied. "Still, you should eat less. Aren't we going to have a baby? Your health is the most important thing." Qin Chu chuckled. "Okay, I'll go eat a little." In the end, Huamin decided to compromise. "Honey, yeah. I'm sorry," Qin Chu gently said. "Why are you sorry?" Huamin was confused. Chapter 602. I promised to spend the weekend with you at South Hill Manor. You've been tired lately and I wanted to spend a relaxing weekend with you, but now. Qin Chu paused. Huamin let out a sigh of relief when he heard the reason. Don't be silly, the company is more important. Something this big happened, so of course you have to take care of it. You have a lot of opportunities to spend time with me, so it won't be too late for you to take care of everything, Huamin comforted him. After this, we'll go overseas. I haven't taken you on a real honeymoon yet. Qin Chu said guiltily. Says who? Didn't you take me to Yunding Mountain last time? Huamin chuckled. Yunding Mountain doesn't count. After I'm done, we'll go to the Maldives. Okay, I'll wait for you. After hanging up, Huamin felt a lot better. Qin Chu would never bring negative emotions to anyone around him, especially not to Huamin, who he loved the most. Huamin hung up the phone and obediently went downstairs to eat. The specially hired chef seemed to know Qin Chu's appetite and made several seafood dishes. There were Boston lobsters, steamed crabs, steamed scallops with garlic and vermicelli, and salted prawns. Even though Huamin didn't have much of an appetite, he still ate a little since he promised Mr. Qin. On the other hand, Qin Chu was as busy as crazy as a bee. As soon as he got off the plane, he called Huamin while listening to Assistant Yang report on the latest news from the accident. After hanging up with Huamin, he walked out of the airport and was immediately swarmed by reporters from all directions. Mr. Qin, how do you plan to deal with the aftermath this time? Mr. Qin, how did your company compensate for the deaths? Mr. Qin, as GK's new president, how do you feel about something like this? Mr. Qin, I heard that the death toll has increased from 3 to 4, and the government is investigating whether GK is a shoddy construction company. What do you think about this? Mr. Qin, after this incident was exposed this afternoon, GK's stock price dropped by 5%. Will it continue to drop tomorrow? Please give us a forecast. Mr. Qin, I heard that GK's film and television company's grand opening is the day after tomorrow. Due to this sudden incident, will you postpone it? Xiao Yang had never seen so many reporters before. Oh my God, it was a sea of people. Not only were their questions sharp, but they were also extremely difficult ones. Not only his boss, his assistant Yang felt like his head was going to explode. Yang, he thought his boss' arrogance was to be ignored. Unexpectedly, the boss actually stopped in its tracks, which was a rare occurrence. Then he calmly said, "Thank you for your attention, friends from the media. Because time is limited and there are too many questions, I will only answer 3 points. First, my company and I feel very sorry for the casualties of the accident. We will definitely compensate the victims, and the amount will be satisfactory. Second, the cause of this accident is still unknown, so I can't announce it to the public. I can only say that if it is GK's responsibility, we will not avoid it. If it is our partner's fault, we will not tolerate it and will pursue it to the end. Third, regarding the grand opening of the film and television company the day after tomorrow, the date will not be changed. Thank you, everyone." Faced with Qin Chu's answers, some of the reporters took photos like crazy, while others took notes, recorded, and videotaped. After Qin Chu got into his car, some people continued to clap. They had been in the media for many years, but they had never seen such a young CEO, especially for a company as powerful as GK. At first, everyone thought that since GK was a family business, it was normal for a son to inherit it. However, after seeing Qin Chu's reaction to the scene and his words, they were certain that he was not a simple person. Inside a private club, a few men who were drinking red wine in the private room smiled as they watched the live broadcast. Qin Chu may be young, but he managed to hold his ground. "He's quite impressive," Tang Chuan exclaimed. "After such a big incident, you still want to open the grand opening the day after tomorrow. You're clearly provoking our Lord Su. Lord Su, what do you think about this?" Wei Liao looked at Su Yu and smiled proudly. Chapter 603. Su Yu leaned against the sofa lazily. He was wearing a white short-sleeved t-shirt with a Versace logo on it. He held a glass of red wine in his right hand and gently swirled it. Then he smiled. "He's confident because he thinks he's succeeded in poaching my woman." "What about the truth?" Wei Liao asked with a smile. "Don't worry, you'll find out the day after tomorrow." "Damn, you won't even tell us." "We won't betray you," Tang Chuan cursed. Su Yu's plan had never been made public, so Wei Liao and Tang Chuan didn't know about it. It's not fun to tell you now. Just wait for the show the day after tomorrow, Su Yu said mysteriously. Okay, let's wait for the show, Wei Liao smiled. Tang Chuan was also amused. Then I'll sell beer, drinks, popcorn, and mineral water in the front row. These two guys were just here to watch the show. However, judging from Su Yu's current momentum, Su Yu was definitely going to win. After all, he had a huge advantage. Ahem, let me ask you a bold question. What happened in T-City? Were you behind it? Tang Chuan looked at Su Yu and suddenly asked. Su Yu opened his half-closed eyes and gestured with his finger. Come here, I promise I'll leave your corpse intact. Wei Liao patted Tang Chuan's shoulder. You're really asking for a beating. No, I just thought of it all of a sudden. Tang Chuan looked aggrieved. Lord Su isn't that kind of person. Plus, Lord Su wouldn't do something like that when it comes to someone's life. You can ask me this next time. Lord Su doesn't even have to do anything. I'll definitely whip you to death with a leather whip dipped in chili water, Wei Liao laughed. What happened in T-City had nothing to do with Su Yu, so he would definitely not take the blame. It could only be said that the heavens were helping him. Evening Su Yu lay on the big bed, tossing and turning, unable to fall asleep, thinking about Mr. Qin. But she knew that he was busy, so she didn't dare to send him a WeChat message. Suddenly, a WeChat notification popped up. She quickly picked it up and saw that it was Ni Yang. Sister Huamin, are you asleep? Not yet. The anime you introduced is very good. Ni Yang even sent a smiley face emoji. You also like Uzumaki Naruto, right? He is very optimistic. No, I like Gaara. I think he's very similar to me. We're both abandoned children. Huamin was speechless for a moment before replying, How many episodes have you watched? More than 150. Didn't I tell you to watch 2 or 3 episodes a day? Huamin was speechless. But it's very good. I couldn't stop after watching 3 episodes. She could tell that Ni Yang was in a good mood. Then you have to control the time and rest early. Don't let it affect your sleep. I know. I followed your schedule and just went to the gym. I took a shower and drank some milk. I plan to watch 2 more episodes before going to bed. Sister Huamin, it's so nice to meet you. If only you were my real sister. If you want, you can treat me like your real sister. I don't mind having a superstar brother. I can go out and show off when I'm free. Okay, then you rest. I'll watch for a while. After chatting, Huamin put down her phone and sighed slightly. Ni Yang's words were as innocent as a child's. Even Jixin wouldn't say something so childish like that. Speaking of Jixin, this guy who cared about the opposite sex but not his humanity, had basically forgotten about his sister ever since he announced his relationship with Huang Yu. In the past, he would call her every 2 or 3 days. Now, other than liking her posts on WeChat, he was nowhere to be seen. Just as she was about to ask him if he was on WeChat, she saw that he had updated his WeChat moments. It was a photo of Huang Yu with the words, "The most beautiful scene in my life is meeting you." Damn, he even used the lyrics of Star and Moon mythology. Huamin didn't realize before that this guy was so good at flirting with girls. She sent a beckoning emoji to Jixin. He immediately replied, "Sis, what's up?" Chapter 604. You still know that I'm your sister? Sis, you're so resentful. You're an ingrate that only cares about your wife when you grow up and forget about your sister. How can I not be resentful? I'm not an ingrate. I'll take care of you when you're old. Fuck off. You're 19 and I'm 24. When I'm 80, you'll be 75. You'll still be able to take care of me when I'm old. Huamin cursed. Sis, you're so smart. I bet your PE teacher didn't teach you math. Don't talk nonsense with me. Let's get down to business. Okay, Princess Royal, please give me your orders. Haven't you been doing enough homework? Why are you going on dates so often? Dating is one thing, but you can't let your guard down. You still need to study. Otherwise, how can you go to GK with your level after graduation? Wow, sis, did you agree to let me go to brother-in-law's company? That depends on your performance. Your brother-in-law already told me, and I'm still observing. You can't do whatever you want just because you're Qin Chu's brother-in-law, okay? You have to be capable. GK is just a platform. How far you can fly is still up to you. Oh, I know. Sis, you're so naggy. You're becoming more and more like Mom. Huamin, oh right, when I came home yesterday, Mom told me about you. What did Mom say about me? I don't want to tell you. I'm afraid you won't be able to take it. Mom's always blabbering, you know that. Jing Jixin purposely tried to avoid the topic. Hurry up and tell me. Ahem. Mom said that your sister's been married for a while, but why isn't she pregnant? So? Huamin continued to ask. So Mom told me to tell you that you and brother-in-law should go to the hospital for a checkup when you have time. She wants to see if there's something wrong with either of you. Huamin felt like he was struck by a bolt from the blue. He was so shocked that he was crispy on the outside and tender on the inside. That was why the elderly were worried for nothing. No one could get pregnant after getting married. This depended on fate and timing. Some people had it in a few months, some took more than 2 years, and some even took 7 or 8 years. This didn't mean that there was something wrong with his or Qin Chu's body. Mom's words aren't unreasonable. Sis, do you want to go for a checkup? Friend. All right, then I'll leave now. Good night, eldest princess. She wanted to teach Jixin a lesson and tell him not to think about dating all the time. But this brat, together with her mother, actually suspected that there was something wrong with her body. Did she look like someone who was infertile? The next morning, by the time Huamin got up and finished her breakfast, the servants had already wiped her car clean. Actually, it was not that Huamin was vain. Everyone liked a high-quality life. A luxurious mansion of 1,000 square meters and a large group of servants. This was probably everyone's dream. A young lady, are you going to work? Uncle Li stood in front of the car and asked respectfully. Yes. Are you coming back tonight? I'll prepare dinner for you in advance. I'm coming back. Although Qin Chu didn't come back, she was still willing to stay here on the weekends. It was quiet and the environment was good. She originally planned to take Saturday and Sunday off, but Qin Chu had something to do at the last minute. She didn't want to stay any longer, so she canceled her vacation. Okay, have a safe trip. When Huamin drove to Southside, the nurse immediately ran up to her and said, Head nurse, you're really coming to work today. That's great. Someone was looking for you and hasn't left yet. Who is it? Huamin was confused. I don't know, he's waiting in your office. Okay. Huamin nodded. She put on her white coat and went straight to her office. Chapter 605. You're looking for me? When Huamin saw Jiang Xiaowei, she was slightly surprised. She remembered that she hadn't made an appointment with Jiang Xiaowei in the past few days. After the hypnosis failed, she had changed her treatment method for Ni Yang. Yeah. Jiang Xiaowei nodded. Today, she wore a long red dress with a white jacket. She looked very elegant and ladylike. Apparently, Jiang Xiaowei was 1 year older than Huamin, and she was still single. Igao Ran gossiped about Jiang Xiaowei on WeChat. There were countless men chasing after her at the Municipal Public Security Bureau. However, none of them succeeded. This girl looked easy to get along with, but she was actually very hard to get along with. She didn't have many friends and spent most of her time on work. She studied psychology wholeheartedly and was known as a workaholic. What do you want to drink? Huamin casually placed the documents on the table. Tea, do you have it? Jiang Xiaowei smiled. Yes, I do. In order to refresh herself, Huamin prepared a lot of tea and coffee. She personally loved green tea, especially West Lake Longjing. It was her favorite. Therefore, when Qin Chu found out, he asked someone to pick fresh Longjing tea from the tea garden for her. Huamin took out the tea leaves from the cabinet and filled a pot with water from the water dispenser. He poured 2 cups and handed one to Jiang Xiaowei. Thank you. I remember. I haven't made an appointment with you recently, right? Huamin asked. Yes, that's why I'm curious. Have you given up on Ni Yang's treatment? It turned out that Jiang Xiaowei was interested in Ni Yang's case. Most geniuses liked problems that couldn't be solved. No, why would I give up? I just changed my plan, Huamin said as she took a sip of tea. What plan? Can you tell me about it? You seem to be very interested in his affairs? Huamin looked at Jiang Shaowei somewhat defensively. Jiang Shaowei put the tea aside and smiled. Don't worry. I'm not interested in an Yang. I'm interested in this case. I really want to know how you treat such a troublesome patient with depression and sleep disorders. You might be surprised if I tell you. Tell me about it. Jiang Shaowei seemed to be getting more and more interested. After that, Huamin recounted how an Yang had gotten drunk and forced him to talk about the knot in his heart. After Jiang Shaowei heard this, she was first slightly surprised, then she smiled. What are you laughing at? Do you think I'm weird too? No, I just think that your idea is very interesting. Why didn't I think of it? Huamin, did you know? Huamin, I've heard about you since a few months ago. You might not know this, but President Wu and my father are good friends. They often visit my house. My father likes to do academic research, so I sometimes have tea with them. Uncle Wu told me that there's a strange girl in their hospital who looks a little like me. Then he told me about you. What about me? Huamin asked with a smile. You performed a C-section on a pregnant woman and got framed, when you wrote an academic paper on ophthalmology for Ning Ziyuan, when you saved Wu Xiaoshue's child for her enemy, and, after you arrived at Southside, you proposed reforms to clean up the unhealthy atmosphere. Ha! I didn't know that I did so many things. Huamin suddenly realized. Back then, I already knew that you weren't an ordinary person. No, I'm very ordinary. You don't have to be humble. I'm very good at reading people. Not only do you have a high IQ, but you also have a high EQ. That's why you were able to marry someone as outstanding as Qin Chu, right? You even know this? Huamin was a little surprised. Chapter 606. Don't worry, I didn't investigate you on purpose. I just happened to find out. I'm very interested in you. So, you have to be my friend, Jiang Shaowei said domineeringly. You make it sound like I don't have a choice. Is that a threat? Huamin laughed. Of course it's a threat. You have to be my friend. Why? Because I like to be friends with people who are as smart as me. Miss Jiang, you're not modest at all. Why should I be modest? Smart is smart. That's the truth. Okay. So, do you agree? Jiang Shaowei looked at Huamin expectantly. Huamin nodded. Then she saw Jiang Shaowei take something out of her bag and place it on the table. This is for you. It's a gift for the first friend I've made in 25 years. Huamin was shocked. Her first friend in 25 years? Who is she? Forget about the gift, you don't have to be so polite. No, take it. I rarely give people gifts. My purpose for coming here today is very clear. I want to be friends with you. I've already prepared the gift. Huamin slowly picked up the beautiful box and opened it. It was a Swarovski brooch. It was in the shape of a butterfly. It was very beautiful, and the wings were surrounded by diamonds. It looked expensive. This is too expensive. You can't measure the price of a gift. Do you know why I like butterflies? Jiang Shaowei asked. Huamin was silent for a moment. Then he slowly said, I think you admire the spirit of butterflies. It's a very painful process to turn from a caterpillar into a butterfly. However, as long as you persevere, there will be a day when you break out of the cocoon and become a butterfly. Jiang Shaowei looked at Huamin in shock. You're really smart to be able to see through this. I've liked butterflies since I was young. My family and colleagues all thought that I only liked butterflies for their appearance. However, that's not the case. When butterflies are caterpillars, they're extremely ugly and slow. All insects look down on them because they're so unremarkable. However, they persevere. No matter how others treat them, how they laugh at them, they finally survive the long period of transformation and become the most beautiful creature. You have a personality. Huamin's face. Don't confuse my personality with my attitude. My personality comes from who I am, and my attitude depends on who you are. You make a lot of sense. I don't know what to say. Huamin suddenly realized that not only did Jiang Shaowei have a high EQ, but she also had a way with words. Even someone like her, who loved to talk about chicken soup for the soul, felt inferior in front of Jiang Shaowei, At this moment, Jiang Shaowei looked at her watch. It's about time. I have something to do, so I'm leaving. Let's have dinner together in a few days. Okay. Jiang Shaowei got up and was about to leave. Huamin suddenly thought of something and shouted. Wait. Jiang Shaowei turned around. She saw Huamin take out a box of Longjing tea and hand it to her. Here, a gift for our new friend. Jiang Shaowei froze for a second. Then, she took the tea and smiled. After Jiang Shaowei left, Huamin put away the brooch and put it in her bag. Jiang Shaowei was such a strange girl. But for some reason, Huamin liked her a lot. Maybe President Wu was right. The two of them were similar in some ways. Seeing how arrogant she was just now, she really resembled herself from 7 years ago. Just then, Huamin's phone rang. Looking at the caller ID, it was Wuxia. Chapter 607. After a moment of hesitation, Huamin picked it up. Hello? Mian, you know about what happened in T-City, right? Qin Chu went there, right? What do you want to know? Huamin was slightly displeased. I'm not asking about anything. I just want to say that if something happens over there, the new company's grand opening the day after tomorrow will be over. No, I watched the live stream and he already said that the date won't change. That's because Su Yu hasn't made his move yet. If Su Yu uses his ultimate move, Qin Chu will be screwed. Su Yu's ultimate move? Huamin was confused. Why did Qin Chu start a film and television company? Wuxia chuckled. Huamin didn't say anything. She did know, Su Yu isn't as frivolous as he appears to be. Imperial Star's success wasn't a coincidence. Qin Chu is very busy this time, and if Su Yu uses his ultimate move, GK might lose miserably. That won't happen. I believe that Qin Chu has a plan. Mian, even if he has a plan, Qin Chu is just a mortal, not a god. He can't split himself, and if something happens over here, he won't be able to make it back in time. Plus, I think that what happened in T-City might have something to do with Su Yu. You think he's behind it? Huamin was surprised. It's not impossible. When two companies compete, there are a lot of tricks up their sleeves. If Qin Chu is busy right now, of course, Su Yu will be the biggest winner. Think about it. Impossible. Su Yu isn't the kind of person who doesn't care about other people's lives. Huamin thought that Su Yu was being ridiculous, but he wouldn't sacrifice so many people just to beat Qin Chu once. This kind of person was too scary. Nothing is impossible, Mian. Many people aren't as good as they seem. You're too naive. I'm just calling to remind you that you're on your own. Then, Wuxia hung up the phone. Huamin's heart was once again in chaos. After much thought, she decided to ask Su Yu. She logged onto Weibo and sent a private message to Su Yu. Are you there? I'll always be here, the other side replied in a split second. I want to ask you something. Can you tell me the truth? Go ahead. Did you have something to do with the accident? After a while, Su Yu didn't say anything. Huamian also felt that she might hurt him by asking. Of the Huamians of Huamian of her, Smians, I just want to hear it from you. If I said that it wasn't me, would you believe me? Su Yu asked in all seriousness. I believe you. As long as you say that it wasn't you, I'll believe you. It wasn't me, it had nothing to do with me. Although I really want to beat Qin Chu, I'll do it fair and square. I won't do anything immoral. Okay, I got it. Then, Huamin didn't say anything else. Su Yu thought for a moment and sent another message. If the day after tomorrow, I use my own method to stop GK's new company from opening, will you hate me? No, this is a battle between the two of you. As long as you don't cross my moral bottom line, I have no reason to hate you. Huamin's reply was very straightforward. Su Yu let out a sigh of relief. He no longer had anything to worry about. The truth was, he was quite happy that Huamin asked him personally instead of hearing the rumors from someone else. This was enough to prove that Huamin was still a trustworthy person, right? Then, 5 seconds later, Su Yu updated his Weibo. Thank you for believing in the person you see and not the person other people say I am. After this post was posted, it received 10,000 comments, 50,000 likes, and 20,000 shares within 3 minutes. Whoa, hubby, marry me. Lord Su, take me home. Lord Su, I want to have your babies. Lord Su, you haven't updated your Weibo in a while. Do you have a new girlfriend? Announce it. Lord Su is mighty and domineering. Anyone who hurts my Lord Su must die. Su Yu's Weibo was filled with fans and was instantly flooded with comments. T-City Chin-Chu was busy all morning. During lunch, he sat down at a fast food restaurant and sat across from Assistant Yang. You're flying back to C-City in a bit to prepare for the new company's opening tomorrow. What about you? Boss, you're not coming back with me? Assistant Yang was slightly surprised. Chapter 608. I can't go back. Things are complicated here. If I leave, no one will be able to control the situation. But I can't do it alone. Boss, what if Su Yu makes a big move tomorrow? We'll deal with whatever comes our way. Did they sign a contract? Chin-Chu asked. No, I heard they signed a contract of intent tomorrow morning. Okay, I got it. Is there a problem? Boss. They're probably waiting for tomorrow to stand us up, huh? No way. Even if it's a contract of intent, they'll have to pay if they break it. Do you think Su Yu needs money? Chin-Chu asked back. Okay. Assistant Yang didn't know what to say. His boss was so considerate. Annie Liang signed a contract, right? When the time comes, there'll be a lot of people involved. Yeah, Annie Liang is a big star. With her and some B-list and C-list celebrities, they'll be able to hold the fort. So, you can go back. I'll stay. Boss. Assistant Yang admired his boss's brain and wisdom. Was he really a 27-year-old man? He was calm and collected in the face of danger. Most importantly, he always left a way out. What a highly resourceful person. If that was the case, GK would be on the list of the world's richest people soon. After a busy day at Southside, Huamian was exhausted when she got off work. Ever since Deputy Director Gua and his brother-in-law went in, the entire South Side became much quieter. Everything seemed to have changed. Everyone was in a better mood. More and more people looked at Huamian with admiration in their eyes. She was the hero who got rid of Deputy Director Gua, a parasite that had been around for thousands of years. When Huamin got off work, she took the viaduct and went back home to South Hill Manor. At a crossroad in the Gao family mansion, a black Lamborghini was parked on the side of the road. Ahem. I don't think she'll take this road today. She might be going back to South Hill, Wei Liao said. Su Yu didn't say anything. He waited for another 10 or so minutes. Every time he missed Huamin, he would quietly wait on the side of the road and see her car drive by. Now that South Hill Manor was built, Huamin would occasionally not take this road, so Su Yu often waited for nothing. I'm puzzled. If you miss her, why don't you just go and look for her? When did you become so indecisive? Haven't you heard of this saying? What saying? Wei froze. Liking her is being presumptuous, while loving her is restraining herself. Now that my feelings for her have deepened, I can't be presumptuous anymore. I've learned to restrain myself. After all, I don't want to bring her trouble because of my one-sided love. Fuck, you make yourself sound so great. Wei Liao was shocked as well. Let's go have some tea. Not drink. I suddenly realized that West Lake Longjing is very delicious. Wei Liao. As soon as Huamin arrived at South Hill Manor, he received a call from Chin-Chu. He was instantly in a good mood. Honey, are you home yet? Yeah, I just got home. How are things on your end? Everything is going well. Chin-Chu had always been the type to report only good news. That's good. When are you coming back? Huamin suddenly realized that Chin-Chu had never stayed out for more than 2 days. Huamian really missed him. It was as if he had been gone for days. So, Chin-Chu didn't give an answer in the end. Just as Huamin was about to speak, he heard a man on the other end of the phone say, President Qin, the government is here. Honey, I have to go. Remember to eat and sleep on time. Honey, Huamin reluctantly called out. Yeah. I miss you so much, Huamin said. His nose felt stuffy and he suddenly felt like crying. Chapter 609. Huamin's words instantly softened Chin-Chu's stressful heart. Be good, I'll be back soon. Be careful. Even though time was tight, Qin Chu still found time to talk to Huamin on the phone every day. Huamin remembered reading on the internet that if someone had you in their heart, they would contact you no matter how busy they were. If someone didn't have you in their heart, they would use all sorts of excuses to not contact you. Even though Qin Chu kept saying that everything was going well and that everything was going smoothly, Huamin wasn't stupid. In that kind of situation, how could everything be going smoothly? He had to deal with the family's crying, the government's pressure, his peers' backstabbing, his competitors' mockery, and the culprit's excuses and evasions. Qin Chu had to deal with a huge mess all by himself. At that moment, she regretted her decision to study medicine. If she had studied finance, she could have at least helped him out at the company. But now, there was nothing she could do. Huamin's heart ached as he watched Qin Chu try his best to keep himself safe and cover up all the pressure. Their Mr. Qin always had to shoulder everything by himself. T-City, after negotiating with the government officials, Qin Chu felt a little depressed as he was faced with waves of oppression. He walked to a corner and made a phone call. "Do you need anything?" The owner of Seductive Fox was a man of few words. The building collapsed because the construction team cut corners. The person in charge of the construction team knew something would happen and fled the country a month ago. I asked someone to check his immigration records. He's currently in Chicago, USA. "I know what to do," Lily Kay said, understanding tacitly. "I want him to live, the sooner the better." "Okay." After hanging up, Qin Chu walked to the rooftop of the skyscraper. He bent down and looked at the people walking around below. When a person stood at a high place, the scenery was beautiful, but the danger was also relatively high. The 4 victims were all middle-aged men between the ages of 33 to 45. He was supposed to play the role of father and son in the family. But because of those unscrupulous and black-hearted businessmen who cut corners, they died tragically under the reinforced concrete. Wasn't it said that people were born good? Since when did the human heart rot to this extent? You want to use other people's lives as a foundation to build your so-called wealth? Looking at the family members who were in pain, Qin Chu didn't say anything and paid 3 million yuan for each of them. They would continue to invest in the future. However, he knew that no matter how much money he gave, he would not be able to exchange it for a fresh life. Sometimes, being alive was so precious. Even though it wasn't his fault, he was willing to make it up to him because he was the same as Huamin. He couldn't bear to see any life or death parting in the world. He couldn't bear to see any tragedies that had anything to do with him. At this moment, Qin Chu's phone rang. "Chairman Qin, I found it. The person in charge of the construction, Wang Dahai, is actually a bait. There's a mastermind behind this." "I knew it." Qin Chu knew that things were not as simple as cutting corners. It seemed like there really was a dirty plot behind this. "We all think that your new rival, Su Yu, did it. After all, he's our public enemy number 1. Hearing Su Yu's name, Qin Chu was slightly silent. Chapter 610. It can't be him. Although we are rivals, he wouldn't do such a thing. Qin Chu was very rational. He wouldn't accuse Su Yu of something just because he was Su Yu's rival in love. Su Yu was born in the powerful Su family. With the Su family's education style, Su Yu was an arrogant young master. There was no need for him to risk someone's life to fight with him. Hence, he was sure that it wasn't Su Yu. "As long as we catch Wang Dahai, he will know everything." "Yes, I believe it will be soon." Qin Chu nodded. He trusted Wang Dahai's style of doing things. Rick's family was quite powerful in America. Now, they just had to wait quietly. After Yang returned, he went straight to the company's headquarters to plan for the next day. Everything was prepared according to the boss's instructions. However, at 10 p.m., something happened. Annie Liang's private life had always been messy, but it had never been exposed. There were only rumors circulating. This time, a forum exposed 3 intimate photos of Annie Liang with a few men in a nightclub. One of them was dancing with a man on the dance floor. Another was wearing revealing clothes and holding a cigarette in her hand. The last photo was of her sitting on a man's lap. The 2 of them were naked and their behavior was very indecent. It was a far cry from her usual image of a domineering goddess on TV. The men's faces were very blurry and couldn't be distinguished. However, Annie Liang's photos were very clear. It was obvious that they wanted to defame her. Annie Liang was one of the most important guests on the red carpet tomorrow. Today, her scandal was exposed and she wouldn't be able to appear tomorrow. She had spent so much money to sign a celebrity, but she was useless. After Yang saw the news, he immediately called Qin Chu. "Boss, have you seen the news?" Yang asked with a sad face. "What should we do?" "Follow the original plan." Qin Chu was still very calm. "What about Annie Liang?" "Don't let her come. Cancel her qualification and let her go abroad for a vacation. She can come back after the PR side is done." "Okay." Yang nodded nervously. He thought that the storm would be over soon. Who would have thought that the next morning, when there were still 2 hours before the opening ceremony? When Assistant Yang received a message, he almost vomited blood. All the artists who had signed the contract of intent had broken it. They all returned to Imperial Star, including Jian Tong, Cotton Candy, and the others. The key issue now was whether money was small or face was big. Annie Liang was no longer appearing. If all these people left, only the third-rate celebrities would be left on the red carpet. Then, wouldn't GK film and television become the laughingstock of everyone? "Assistant Yang, what should we do? What should we do?" The manager of the public relations department was also confused. "How would I know? Why don't we ask the boss first?" Assistant Yang dialed his boss number, but sadly his boss phone was turned off. It's over. We're dead for sure this time." Assistant Yang was like an ant on a hot pan. "What happened?" "The boss has shut down." "What should we do?" Xiao Yang wiped his sweat and replied, "Don't worry, I'll give the chairman a call. At a time like this, we can only rely on the chairman." Yang called the Qin family's villa. Lady Qin answered the call. "The chairman isn't home, he went out to play golf and didn't bring his phone." "Mrs. Chairman, this is too urgent. If no one takes care of it, we'll become a laughingstock. What should we do?" "How would I know? If you can't get in touch with my son, why don't you contact his woman? Isn't that woman very powerful? She can fly, right?" Lady Qin said sourly. "Oh, right, then I'll call a young lady." Upon hearing Lady Qin's reminder, Assistant Yang immediately pulled up Huamin's phone number from the secretary's office. Then he dialed, "Hello?" Huamin had just woken up and was about to eat breakfast. "A young lady, I'm President Qin's assistant, Assistant Yang. The company is in a crisis right now and it's extremely urgent. Can you come to the headquarters and give us some advice?" Assistant Yang said anxiously. "Me?" Huamin was slightly surprised. Chapter 611. "I don't think that's a good idea. I'm just his wife. Don't you need to talk to my husband about company matters?" "But I can't get through to President Qin's phone, it's probably out of battery." Assistant Yang wanted to cry. "Then, where's the chairman?" Huamin asked anxiously. "The chairman isn't home. I just called and told him that he went out to play golf. His wife told us to talk to you about this." "She told you to talk to me?" Huamin asked faintly. "Okay, wait a second, I'll be right there." After Huamin hung up the phone, he immediately put away his things and rushed downstairs. "A young lady, you're not eating breakfast?" Butler Uncle Lee asked. "I'm not eating, Uncle Lee. I have to go to the company." "I'm sorry for the trouble. Don't waste food, everyone eat." "Okay, I'll go arrange it." The truth was Huamin felt quite guilty. It was early in the morning, and the kitchen and maids had been busy preparing breakfast for her. But now, she said she wasn't eating. Huamin got into his car and called Southside to ask for a day off. Then, he drove directly to GK headquarters in less than 20 minutes. He sped all the way, the fastest car in history. GK headquarters, Assistant Yang personally went downstairs to pick up Huamin. "A young lady, come with me." Huamin nodded and followed Assistant Yang up to a small conference room on the top floor. There were 7 or 8 people in the conference room. They were the people in charge of the film and television company, people from the public relations department, and executives involved in the planning of this event. Jiang Linyue was also present. Assistant Yang pointed at Huamin and introduced, "Let me introduce you to our president's wife, Mrs. Huamin." After Assistant Yang finished speaking, everyone was dumbfounded except for Jiang Linyue. She quietly looked at Huamin with an indifferent expression. "Hello, a young lady." Everyone greeted her. Huamin nodded in greeting. "Hello everyone, please take a seat." Afterwards, Assistant Yang took out a bunch of documents and placed them on the table. He then said anxiously, "Time is limited, so I'll keep this short. Boss has been planning for the opening of his new company. Originally, he had everything prepared, but since last night Annie Liang's scandal was exposed, so she can no longer walk the red carpet. Boss also told her not to show up. Therefore, we are only left with the stars who have signed agreements of intent with us. But this morning, those stars collectively went on strike. To put it bluntly, they breached the agreement and all of them returned to Imperial Star. Now, we are only left with some unknown second and third-rate stars. We don't have anyone who can control the situation. The opening ceremony is less than 2 hours away. At that time, we will be the center of attention, and we will be laughed at. At the same time, our company's reputation will be affected. Since half an hour ago, I have been unable to contact President Qin. Therefore, in this emergency situation, I have chosen a young lady to help us come up with ideas. If anyone has any suggestions, please raise them." After little Yang finished speaking, everyone fell silent and lowered their heads with furrowed brows. At a time like this, who could come up with any good ideas? Jiang Linyue was the first to speak. "I signed Annie Liang, and she's the only one who signed a real contract. The scandal was probably exposed last night because of Imperial Star. Su Yu is not a gentleman to take advantage of this situation. Otherwise, we should hire some people to smear Imperial Star and Su Yu's reputation. What do you think?" Chapter 612. Director Jiang, it's no use complaining right now. Let's think of a solution. Forget about defaming him, let's take care of our own business first. It's best if we don't get into big trouble, Assistant Yang advised. What can we do? In my opinion, we should just postpone the date and wait for President Qin to come back, Jiang Linyue said nonchalantly as she played with her nails. Before anyone else could speak, Huamin said, "We can't change the date. President Qin already announced on TV that he won't change the date. If we change the date now, everyone will think that he's going back on his word, and it will affect his reputation in the future." Is that so? Everyone knows that, but what else can we do? A young lady, you're so resourceful, why don't you tell us what to do? Jiang Linyue was full of hostility towards Huamin. She wanted to use this opportunity to fight back. Huamin immediately knew what Jiang Linyue was thinking. Ignoring her, he looked around and said, "Don't worry, the only thing we can do right now is to discuss what to do." Then, Huamin looked at Assistant Yang and asked, "Is there no room for negotiation for the celebrities that breached the contract?" "Yes, they've all turned off their phones and won't pick up their phones. Obviously, this is a scheme by Imperial Star. They wiped us out and then disappeared at a critical moment, leaving us with no celebrities to use," Assistant Yang said, breaking down. "Then, if we can get a famous celebrity to join us, will the problem be solved?" Huamin asked again. "Not only that, but the celebrities that can appear on our red carpet must be signed with our company. Otherwise, it'll be very embarrassing if the media expose them." It sounded like it would be quite difficult. "Okay, I got it. How about this, wait for me." Then, Huamin got up and walked out of the conference room. Huamin walked out of the conference room and picked up his phone. She did have a candidate in mind, but she felt like the chances of success were very low. Huamian called Ni Yang. That's right, she called him. The call went through, and it was indeed Ingzi's voice. "Hello. I'm looking for Ni Yang. He's busy. Who are you?" "I'm Huamin." "Oh, is something the matter?" The agent didn't like Huamin very much, especially after the incident with Ni Yang when he was drunk. She was still brooding over it and had even written several letters of complaint to President Wu. "It's like this. I want to ask if he signed with a new company. What does that have to do with you? Why do you care so much about which company he signs with?" Ingzi's tone was harsh. "No, I just wanted to ask, if he's not sure yet, can he consider GK Film and Television? Don't be ridiculous." "GK Film and Television? That new company? Why would we take the risk and choose a new company? To tell you the truth, we've already decided to go to Imperial Star. President Su offered us a very good deal. Not only did he offer us a sky-high price, but he also gave us a lot of benefits that GK can't afford. Are you really not going to consider it? I won't consider it. Goodbye. After saying that, Yingzi hung up the phone before Huamin could reply. Huamin's brows furrowed slightly. Sister Yingzi, who was that? On the other end, Yang, who was touching up his makeup, looked over and asked. Oh, a small agency. They're asking if you're going to sign with them. Didn't we already sign with Imperial Star? Turn them down. Yang didn't know what was going on. I already turned them down. Yingzi put down her phone and placed it in Yang's bag. Then she walked over. Huamin looked down at his watch. Time was indeed tight. She gritted her teeth and dialed another number. She really didn't want to beg that person for help. But, for Qin Chu, she decided to sacrifice her dignity for once. Chapter 613. Little Sister Mian, you actually called me? Huasiqian sounded slightly surprised. After all, no matter what happened, Huamin never contacted Huasiqian. Even after Jixin's car accident, she gritted her teeth and didn't contact him. Both of them knew that she didn't like him. Huamin remained silent. Little Sister Mian, do you need something? Yeah. What is it? Huasiqian woke up from his bed and rubbed his eyes. You have a lot of connections. Can you introduce me to some A-list celebrities? One is enough. You want to help GK recruit people? Yeah. But I heard that GK doesn't need people. Annie Liang went over, right? Also, didn't a lot of people leave Imperial Star? Huasiqian asked, even though he already knew the answer. Something happened to them and they can't make it. The red carpet ceremony is in less than 2 hours and they're in a hurry, so, can you help me? So, Little Sister Mian, are you begging me? Huasiqian smiled proudly. He held his phone in one hand and took a sip of water with the other. Yes, I'm begging you. But, why should I help you? As expected, Huasiqian wasn't easy to talk to. I won't let you help me for free, I can pay you. How much? For the first time, Huamin learned how to use money to pressure people, just like Suyu. Money. Ha, Little Sister Mian, why are you so cute? Don't joke around. Do I look like I need money? The Hua family isn't bankrupt, right? Then what do you want? Tell me. About that? Can you really satisfy my every request? As long as it's within my means and doesn't cross my bottom line or moral line, Huamin added. Of course, I like you so much. How could I bear to make things difficult for you? Huasiqian smiled. So, do you agree to help me? Huamin asked nervously. She was actually a little scared, so she lacked confidence. If Huasiqian rejected her as well, she would really be at her wit's end. Were they really going to watch GK film and television become a laughingstock? It was impossible for her to beg Suyu, because he was her opponent. If she begged him, she and Qin Chu would lose face. No problem. You came to me because you're sure that I'll help you. What's there to worry about? You're as scheming as always. That idiot Hui Yanyan won't be able to learn this even if she learns it for the rest of her life. Let's not talk about this nonsense right now. I heard that you're close to Best Actress Mo Shui, and she hasn't signed with a new company yet. Can she come? Huamin did his homework before making the call. Best Actress Mo Shui was even more famous than Annie Liang. Because she focused on the international market, she rarely acted in domestic movies. Most of her movies were big Hollywood productions. Although she was only a supporting actress, her international influence was already very high. Apparently, Mo Shui was close to Huasiqian. Their relationship was exposed many times, and there was even news of their marriage. However, for some reason, it never came to fruition. Many tabloids said that Mo Shui was Huasiqian's favorite woman. If it weren't for Hu Jinghai's insistence on opposing a daughter-in-law from the entertainment industry, they would have been married a long time ago. However, the two of them never said anything, so the specifics remained to be seen. You little rascal, did you do your homework? Yes or no, just tell me. Huamin was a little impatient. Of course, no problem. I promise that Shui will come to GK and sign the contract within an hour. Hua Xiqian was very confident. That's great. Hua Min was ecstatic. But I have one condition. What is it? Hua Min listened quietly on the other end of the phone. If Hua Xiqian's request was too much, she would never agree, even if she couldn't sign Mo Shui. Chapter 614. I want you to come back to the Hua Mansion this weekend and spend the night there, Hua Xiqian said, word for word. Why? Hua Min frowned slightly. You don't have to worry about that, I just want you to come back and spend the night there. That's it? Hua Min asked uncertainly, still holding a grudge against Hua Xiqian. He felt like a cunning person like Hua Xiqian wouldn't just make such a simple request. Yes, that's it. It's a good deal for you, sis, don't think too much about it. Hua Xiqian saw that Hua Min was very cautious and hesitant, so he smiled and said, Okay, deal, Hua Min replied without hesitation. Good, it's a deal. After hanging up the phone, Hua Min finally felt a little better. However, wasn't Mo Shui a little too shabby? After all, GK was a well-known financial group in China. The opening ceremony of a film and television company should be very grand. Inside the suite of the Ritz-Carlton Hotel in T-City, Qin Chu dialed again and again, no matter if he used his own phone or the hotel's landline. He just couldn't get through. It was as if all the phones around him were malfunctioning. However, he could call an unknown number, but he couldn't get through to Hua Min, Gao Ran, Rick, and the others. President Qin, we're done for. The opening ceremony is in 2 hours, and we don't know what's going on over there. Is it too late to fly back now? Qin Chu looked at the man and asked. It's too late. What about a private jet? A private jet? If it's fast, it's possible, the man beside him said. Okay, I'll go borrow one right now. Call Mayor Gao immediately. Okay, President Qin. Qin Chu felt that someone was behind this and used a hacker to cut off his communication with C-City. Even if he sent an email, it would be too late. After all, this wasn't something that could be explained in a few sentences. Since Qin Chu's phone had an anti-hacker function, the person who did this could only block his communication with T-City. It seems that there are people who want me to lose. Qin Chu sneered. 3 minutes later Qin Chu spoke to Mayor Gao of T-City. Then, Mayor Gao borrowed a private jet from a local tycoon. Qin Chu took a private jet and flew straight back to C-City. But according to the time, the opening ceremony would begin by the time he returned. Time was really tight. Hua Min had just finished dealing with an important matter and was about to return to the meeting room to make plans. Then his phone rang. It was in a young, hello? Sister Hua Min, did you just call me? Okay. Hua Min nodded. Sister Yingzi doesn't like you very much, so she didn't tell me. However, I sent her away and secretly looked at the caller ID on my phone. You must be looking for me for something, right? The truth is, I wanted to ask if you could sign with GK. GK? An Yang froze slightly. He didn't expect Hua Min to be talking about work. The truth is, GK's president, Mr. Qin Chu, is my husband. Hua Min decided to tell him the truth. GK's big boss is your husband? And Yang was shocked as well. Yes, GK has been planning to start a film and television company, but something happened. My husband is stuck in T-City, and all the celebrities who wanted to sign with GK have gone back to Imperial Star. The opening ceremony is about to begin, but there aren't any celebrities to support it. It's very embarrassing, so I wanted to ask if you could come. I see. And Yang slightly hesitated. Don't worry about it, it's okay if you don't come. However, if you do, we'll treat you the same way as Imperial Star. We won't mistreat you. Sister Hua Min, the truth is I don't care about material things anymore. I know, so I don't want to give you a hard time. I just wanted to ask you with a glimmer of hope. Sister Hua Min, if Sister Yingzi finds out that I signed with GK in private, she'll kill me, and Yang said slowly. Okay, I got it. Hua Min was just about to hang up when Yang continued, even if she kills me, I'll still help you this time. Wait for me, I'll be there in 20 minutes. Huamin froze in shock. Her heart raced. Was she sure she heard right? Chapter 6:15. See you in a bit, Sister Huamin. Then, before Huamin could reply, Yang quickly hung up the phone. When Huamin returned to the conference room, she felt like she was floating. It was as if everything that happened just now was an illusion. She didn't have high hopes for Yang. After all, they weren't close enough. But as for Huaxiqian, to be honest, she knew that as long as she called, he would definitely help her. Huamin was dressed very casually today. She planned to go to work in the morning, so she only wore a pair of black pencil pants and a pink shirt. She also wore a small white jacket. When she returned, Assistant Yang immediately stood up. A young lady, there's less than an hour left. Huamin nodded. Then, she casually picked up the bottle of water on the table and took a sip. So, what should we do? Just wait, we'll know in half an hour. What's the result? Assistant Yang asked. Mo Shui and Yang will both arrive in half an hour, sign the contract, and walk the red carpet. As soon as Huamin finished speaking, Jiang Linyue started laughing. A young lady? Are you kidding with us? Mo Shui? That international movie queen who's so arrogant that her nose is pointing at the sky. Why would she sign with us? She didn't even want to go to Imperial Star. I heard that she wants to sign with Hollywood. Also, Yang won't sign with us either. Internal sources say that Yang signed with Imperial Star for 300 million yuan, Jiang Linyue said in disdain. I'm sorry, Director Jiang, I don't have time to joke with you guys. Now, don't just sit here, go do your own things and prepare for the opening ceremony. After speaking, Huamin turned to look at Xiaoyang. Please prepare a dress for me. I can't wear this to the red carpet. Huamin also threw caution to the wind. Although she really hated being on camera and being exposed, if Qin Chu did not come back, she would walk the red carpet on behalf of Qin Chu. Okay, a young lady, please wait a moment. Do you really believe that woman? She must be bluffing. Those two celebrities won't come, that's ridiculous. Jiang Linyue thought Huamin was delusional. Perhaps he was under too much pressure, so he was having delusions. However, everyone else listened to Huamin, especially Assistant Yang, who didn't care about what Jiang Linyue said at all. They were busy with what they needed to do. Huamin wore a pure white gown that Assistant Yang had someone deliver to her. It was off-shoulder and simple, but it was very elegant. Apparently, this gown was Chanel's newest design. Victoria, the wife of soccer star David Beckham, wore it at Fashion Week just a day ago. It was a very elegant gown without any embellishments or patterns, but it was still breathtaking. After putting on the gown, Huamin sat down obediently and allowed the makeup artist to do her makeup. Give me a thicker makeup, it's best if it doesn't look like me. Okay, a young lady. Huamin thought that it would be better if her makeup was a little more exaggerated. That way, not many people would recognize her. Half an hour later, after Huamin finished her makeup, she stood up. When Assistant Yang walked in, he was shocked. A young lady? He asked uncertainly. Yeah, it's me, Huamin calmly replied. The young lady that Assistant Yang saw was no longer the same young lady from an hour ago. The bare-faced goddess, a young lady, was wearing exaggerated smoky makeup. Her eyeliner was slightly upturned, making her look very flirtatious. Her eyeshadow was also made up of 3 different colors, black, gray, and coffee. It was a perfect combination. Her lips were especially red, but they were delicate and beautiful. If it were anyone else, they might be called a monster, but Huamin's face was stunning. A young lady, no one will recognize you if you put on makeup like this. That's my goal. That's right, she didn't want anyone to recognize her. Assistant Yang thought that a young lady was just as capricious as his boss. If you're not a family, you won't enter the same house. This saying was quite true. Just then, the female manager of the PR department ran in her high heels. A young lady, Assistant Yang, great news. Yang and Mo Shui have arrived and are waiting for a young lady to sign the contract. Where's a young lady? The PR manager was speechless. Chapter 6:16. Huamin immediately said slowly, "I'm here." The manager was shocked when she saw Huamin. He was a completely different person from half an hour ago. "Even you can't recognize me, looks like it's a success. A young lady, please come over and sign the contract." Huamin followed the people from GK to the VIP room. Mo Shui and Nai Yang sat there. "You signed with GK too?" Mo Shui was slightly surprised when she Nai Yang. "Yeah. But didn't internal sources say that you're going to Imperial Star?" Mo Shui was confused. "Internal sources also said that you're going to sign with Hollywood," Nai Yang replied with a question. "I'm signing with GK because of my friend." "Me too." "Okay." Mo Shui was speechless. One phone call from Wuxia was enough to make her sacrifice her life for him. She was deeply in love with Wuxia for 5 years. The reason why she became famous was because of Wuxia's support. However, she waited for so long and still couldn't marry into the Hua family. To be honest, she really wanted to give up. However, today, Wuxia suddenly called her and told her to sign with GK. She was extremely excited. Wuxia didn't want her to sign with GK in the States. Did that mean that they still had a chance? Women were all naive and stupid, especially those who were infatuated. Mo Shui was no exception. Wuxia managed to get Wuxia, who Imperial Star spent a lot of money on but couldn't get. Nai Yang, who was rumored to have signed with Imperial Star for 300 million yuan, was also here. He didn't tell his agent that he was here. He only wore a thin shirt and a mask and hailed a cab. He looked like a mess, but he was full of sincerity. "Sister Huamin." Nai Yang stood up when he saw Huamin walk in. "You can still recognize me like this?" Huamin asked, amused. "I also often wear heavy makeup, so I'm more sensitive to this." "Okay, sit down." Seeing that Nai Yang was wearing too little, Huamin couldn't bear it. This child was too practical. "Xiao Yang, turn on the air conditioner." "Okay, a young lady." "A young lady? You're President Qin's wife? But, is President Qin married?" Mo Shui was confused. "Let's not talk about this for now. The two of you, let's start signing the contract. Do you have any problems with it? What are your conditions?" After that, Huamin took the 2 contracts from his secretary. Both of them offered 300 million, exactly the same as Imperial Stars. The two of them looked at each other for a moment and didn't say anything. They picked up their pens and signed their names confidently. The two of them signed the contract because they didn't care about money at all. They only cared about favors. After Huamin took the contract, he picked up Qin Chu's signature and stamped it. Then he signed his name and stamped it with his thumbprint. "Thank you. From now on, GK Film and Television will definitely support you." "That's not a problem. We'll start in 40 minutes, right? We didn't bring our costumes," Mo Shui said. "We're all ready. Come with me." After Huamin spoke, he walked the two of them to the makeup artist, and they began to change and do their makeup. Time was of the essence, so 2 stylists were assigned to each of them. "A young lady, you're so resourceful. You made 2 phone calls and invited 2 superstars. How did you do it? Did you cast a spell on them?" Xiao Yang looked at Huamin with admiration. Huamin was speechless. "Nothing, I just happened to know a friend of mine, so I called him." Xiao Yang nodded, extremely excited. He thought that they were done for this time, but who would have thought that a young lady would be able to turn the tide at such a critical moment? Any one of the 2 big bowls that he had signed could defeat the so-called A-listers of Imperial Star in a second. Jian Tong and Mian were nothing in front of them. Annie Liang wasn't even worth mentioning. At the Hilton Hotel, hundreds of luxury cars were waiting, all for the red carpet to be rolled out one after another. Many people from the business and political world would be there as well. Regardless of whether Qin Chu was there or not, they still had to show him some respect. "Young Master Su, do you think Qin Chu will cry when he sees a bunch of third-rate celebrities walking the red carpet?" Wei Liao laughed at Su Yu's predicament. Su Yu didn't say anything, but the corners of his mouth curved up. Chapter 617. He really wanted to see what kind of god Qin Chu was, to be able to turn the situation around. In a bit, When all the celebrities are done, you can go up and congratulate them. Don't make them think that you're a petty competitor, Wei Liao suggested. Of course, Su Yu continued to be proud. Although he hadn't made any progress in pursuing Huamin, he still felt good about beating Qin Chu in the business world. After all, he was Huamin's current husband. Why did the word current pop into his mind? He made it sound like Huamin could get a divorce, but there was still a next one. At this thought, Su Yu couldn't help but laugh. This was the best day he'd been in a while. At 9:30 a.m., the red carpet was laid out from the entrance of the Hilton Hotel in Sea City to the auditorium. Hundreds of media reporters came to surround them and take photos. Many famous people from the business world and the political world also came. However, they all entered the venue and waited for the lunch banquet. The people walking the red carpet were all GK's executives, as well as their contracted celebrities. After the famous male and female hosts gave their opening remarks, the red carpet officially began. Some third-rate celebrities began to enter the venue, and everyone waited with bated breath. I heard that President Qin isn't in the city. He won't be able to make it to today's opening ceremony. Yeah, things in T-City haven't been settled yet, so President Qin probably won't come back. I heard that Annie Liang won't be able to make it either, because a fan saw her in Thailand this morning. She probably went abroad to avoid the limelight. If this guy can't come, that guy can't come. GK's grand red carpet is going to turn into a gathering of small celebrities. Everyone began to discuss. After 7 or 8 small celebrities walked onto the red carpet, suddenly a beautiful figure appeared at the end of the red carpet. She wore a bright red evening gown with a V-shaped back. She wore Korean-style nude makeup, stunning everyone. Someone in the crowd yelled, "Look, isn't that Mo Shui? I can't believe she's here." "Oh, isn't she going to Hollywood? Why did she sign with GK?" "Yeah, I haven't seen Mo Shui in a long time. I heard that her movie with a Hollywood star is going to be released next month. She's so beautiful now. She's so different from an international model. She's so elegant." The man in the black Bentley couldn't stay calm either. "Fuck? Mo Shui, why is she here?" Tang Chuan was going crazy. Then, Wei Liao also went crazy. Su Yu, on the other hand, was still fine. He only snorted coldly. "Looks like this is Hua Xiqian's masterpiece." "Hua Xiqian? Why would he go against you?" Wei Liao was startled. "He's not going against me. He's trying to help Huamin." Su Yu seemed to have seen through the situation. Help Huamin? Is his relationship with Huamin that good? Wei Liao was a little confused. He didn't understand at all. At this moment, another scream came from the crowd. The surrounding reporters and fans were about to go crazy. Look, Ai Yang. And Ai Yang is here. Oh my God, he's here. He's so handsome, I haven't seen him smile in a long time." And Ai Yang's appearance caused a huge commotion. This was because he was even more influential than Mo Shui. And Ai Yang was famous for being cold and arrogant, so he rarely smiled. So, when he walked down the red carpet in a black suit with a charming smile on his face, the crowd went crazy, and the fans screamed. "This is going to be interesting." Su Yu smiled faintly. Mo Shui and Ai Yang. Superstars began to appear one after another. Didn't Ai Yang say that he signed a contract with them? What kind of mistake did they make? As soon as Su Yu finished speaking, Wei Liao immediately said, "Lord Su, look, the woman behind Yang, the woman with smoky makeup, why does she look so familiar?" Su Yu narrowed his eyes and took a closer look. He was completely petrified. Chapter 6:18. Is Huamin crazy? Su Yu was speechless as soon as he opened his mouth. Wei Liao almost vomited blood upon hearing Su Yu's words. Is that Huamin? Wei Liao thought to himself, no wonder she looks so familiar, it's Huamin. But today wasn't Halloween, was it really okay for her to cross-dress and cosplay in public? That's Huamin, oh my God, she's really my mother. Tang Chuan was also shocked. It's definitely her, I'd recognize her even if she turned into ashes, Su Yu said with certainty. That's right, Su Yu had watched Huamin multiple times a day and had memorized most of her facial features. What's going on? I don't understand at all, Wei Liao mumbled. Huamin's appearance not only confused Su Yu and the others, but also confused many of the media. None of them knew Huamin, but they saw her appear on the red carpet behind Ai Yang. She looked different, so they furiously snapped photos of Huamin. She's probably one of the newbies selected by GK. I've never seen her before, a reporter guessed. I think so, or else why would she appear behind Ai Yang? It seems like GK is becoming more and more mysterious. Everyone was chatting away. Our Lord Su's eyes were glued to her. Hey, stop looking, you might never be able to look away. Wei Liao waved his hand in front of Su Yu's face. Smoky makeup seems to suit her, Su Yu mumbled quietly. Wei Liao looked at him and actually felt that what he said made sense, so he nodded. I have the same feeling. It's amazing. That's why I said Huamin is a weirdo. Only a weirdo like him can control such a weirdo style. Lord Su, I don't think the person you fell in love with is an earthling at all. Tang Chuan couldn't stop laughing when he heard their conversation. Although Huamin didn't have much experience on the stage, she was determined to hold on for GK for a while. Therefore, he stood on the stage and allowed the media to take photos of him. There were even media outlets that wanted to interview him, trying to get first-hand information. Fortunately, they were all stopped by Assistant Yang and the people from the Public Relations Department. Jiang Linyue watched from below and was extremely jealous. Why was this woman so capable? Jiang Linyue thought she was awesome enough to win over the pretentious Annie Liang. However, in the last 2 hours, Huamin signed 2 extremely influential superstars, Mo Shui and Ai Yang. She was speechless. Huamin originally thought that GK was finally in the limelight this time. When her husband came back, she would be able to tell him that she didn't embarrass him. However, just as the red carpet was about to end, a silver Maybach screeched to a stop outside the entrance. Then, the person inside got out of the car. He wore a dark gray slim-fit suit. His cold and handsome face couldn't hide his peerless beauty. Even if he didn't smile, you would still be breathtakingly beautiful. It looks like President Qin is here in person, huh? Isn't President Qin in T-City? I thought he wasn't coming. I didn't hear anything about him coming back. Guys, look at the 2 people behind President Qin. Oh my God, are my eyes playing tricks on me? Qin Chu's appearance completely shocked the crowd. After a moment of silence, screams and screams filled the air. Behind Qin Chu was a young man and woman. They were foreigners with blonde hair and blue eyes. The man wore a black tuxedo, and the woman wore a golden V-neck dress. They were extremely dazzling. Wei Liao took a deep breath and looked at Su Yu sympathetically. I think you lost. Am I seeing things? Weren't the 2 people behind Qin Chu the most popular American idols? Because they starred in 7 American TV series, The Vampire Earl, they played a vampire couple and became famous all over the world. However, they appeared here. It was too strange. Huamin watched as Qin Chu walked towards her from the end of the red carpet. For a moment, she couldn't open her eyes because his kingly aura was too dazzling. She even wondered if she was dreaming. Chapter 619. Qin Chu walked towards Huamin, 1 step at a time. The crowd was still filled with screams and the sound of cameras clapping. Christina, Andrew? Many people didn't care about their image and crazily shouted the names of the 2 foreign superstars. The 2 superstars walked down the red carpet hand in hand with smiles on their faces. Then, they posed for selfies and waved to the people around them. Fuck. I can't take it anymore. I'm going to get an autograph. Tang Chuan couldn't take it anymore and pushed open the car door to get out. However, Wei Liao stopped him. Sit still. Don't make things difficult for Lord Su at a time like this. I'm a true fan of Christina. I created a Facebook account for her. Tang Chuan looked like he was wronged. Sit still. Don't even think about hitting on foreign girls. She has a partner and there are so many reporters here. Don't make a fool of yourself. In the end, Wei Liao extinguished Tang Chuan's desire to chase after his idol. Su Yu didn't say anything and just watched quietly from the car. Qin Chu walked up to Huamin. Huamin thought that even if other people didn't recognize him, Qin Chu definitely wouldn't, as expected. Qin Chu walked up to her and held her hand in front of everyone. Then he whispered in her ear, "Honey, Thank you for your hard work. Huamin shook his head. Just as he was about to speak, he felt a lump in his throat and almost burst into tears. She used to be strong, but why did she cry so much lately? Was it because she was too easily moved? Qin Chu knew about her grievances and her persistence. She didn't need to say anything. Qin Chu understood. This was the tacit understanding they had developed over the years. Even though they didn't know each other for 7 years, no one knew each other better than they did. The appearance of 2 foreign superstars at the end of GK Film and Television's opening ceremony was the icing on the cake. No one knew that Qin Chu and Andrew had known each other since they were in the States, and they were friends. They had known each other before Andrew was famous. Now, with one word from Qin Chu, Andrew appeared in Sea City with his rumored girlfriend, Christina. In fact, they had arrived here 2 days ago, but their whereabouts had been very secretive. Because Qin Chu wasn't in the city, Rick had arranged for them to stay in a hotel. It was very confidential. Therefore, none of the media knew that when the two of them appeared today, the crowd immediately exploded, surprise after surprise, Mo Shui, and Yang, Christina, Andrew, and the appearance of Qin Chu himself. What was originally a mess due to a star breaking the contract had suddenly turned into a grand banquet. Aside from Huamin and Qin Chu, no one else would do something like this. Xiao Qin seemed to have predicted that Su Yu would make a move, so he had asked his foreign friends to help him. However, he didn't think that Huamin would invite 2 big shots as well. The saying, husband and wife are connected by heart, was true. Why are you crying? Qin Chu looked at Huamin and didn't say anything, but tears welled up in her eyes. He gently raised his hand and wiped away her tears. Huamin shook her head, but she still couldn't speak. She was afraid that as soon as she opened her mouth, she would burst into tears. Don't cry, your makeup will be ruined, and you'll look like a panda. Qin Chu teased her on purpose. As expected, Huamin couldn't help but laugh when she heard what Qin Chu said. I thought you wouldn't make it back in time, Huamin finally said with difficulty. Of course not, I won't leave you here alone. Qin Chu rushed back and finally made it back to Tea City. He used the mayor's help and borrowed a private jet to return to Sea City, just in time for the end of the opening ceremony. It was truly thrilling. Just then, Su Yu opened the car door and walked out. Is he going to fight? Tang Chuan asked as he looked at Su Yu's back. Su Yu was dressed quite formally today. He was wearing white pants, a black shirt, and a white vest. It was different from his usual casual attire, but it was still dazzling. Look, isn't that President Su from Imperial Star? Is he here to cause trouble? Below the stage, the reporters discussed. Chapter 620. Su Yu walked towards Qin Chu and Huamin, one step at a time. Everyone held their breaths. They were waiting to see what kind of show the Crown Prince was going to put on. Based on past experience, with Su Yu's fiery temper, nothing good would come out of it. He might even come to cause trouble. When Qin Chu and Huamin saw Su Yu, they weren't surprised. Even if he was a competitor, it was reasonable for him to come to an event like this. President Qin, congratulations. Su Yu reached out his hand. Thank you, President Su. Qin Chu reached out his hand as well, and the two shook hands gently. Those who didn't know what was going on wouldn't be able to tell, but those who knew what was going on would know. You won this time, Su Yu said quietly. I was lucky. Qin Chu didn't look proud at all. He was still as cold as ever. But this is just the beginning, it'll get better. Su Yu's words were undoubtedly a declaration of war. It meant that this was just the beginning of a war, not the end. I'm looking forward to it. Qin Chu had always been a proud person, so he only replied with 2 words. The surrounding reporters only saw the two shake hands and congratulate each other. They didn't know what was going on, so they took photos like crazy. Finally, Su Yu glanced at Huamin and faintly said, Your style is very unique. Then, Su Yu couldn't help but laugh and turn around to leave. Huamin rolled his eyes at him. Did he have to be so reserved when mocking others? After the opening ceremony, the VIPs gathered in the ballroom for lunch. The ballroom was filled with hundreds of people. Huamin went downstairs to change his clothes and remove his makeup. Qin Chu went into the VIP lounge, and Assistant Yang immediately poured him a glass of water. Sir, Thank goodness you're back. Do you know how worried I was? I can't contact you no matter how hard I try. I can't get through to your phone at all. I can't even get through to your hotel's landline either. It's too strange. Qin Chu took a sip of water and said indifferently, someone is messing with us. The communication has been cut off. That was so close, I almost peed my pants. Luckily, a young lady is here. Alright, speaking of a young lady, she's really amazing. She managed to pull in 2 big shots in half an hour. Did you see that? Mo Shui and I Yang have both signed contracts with us. I still can't believe it, Assistant Yang praised Huamin to Qin Chu. This was indeed to Qin Chu's liking. He even had a slight smile on his face. My wife is naturally very powerful, he said proudly. But boss, you're even scarier. How did you get those 2 foreigners? Although I've never seen a vampire count before, I feel like they should be very popular. The reporters are going crazy. They're about to step on my shoes. Assistant Yang lowered his head. He had lost control of himself at the event just now. The reporters wanted to rush up to them, but Assistant Yang and the others from the company stopped them. In the end, they were almost trampled to death. Luckily, the opening ceremony was a success. Qin Chu didn't say anything. He just leaned back on the sofa tiredly and closed his eyes. He hadn't slept much for the past few days. He had to worry about both sides. This time, he even flew back directly. Even if he was made of iron, he wouldn't be able to take it. Seeing that his boss was tired, Assistant Yang tactfully turned around and left, closing the door behind him. At this time, Huamin had just finished changing and came over after removing his makeup. Where's he? My boss is resting inside. Huamin nodded and gently pushed the door open. What she saw was Qin Chu leaning against the sofa and falling asleep. His eyelashes were slightly curled. His hands were on his knees, looking very reserved. Thinking about it, he was only 27 years old, but he had to shoulder a financial group. It must be hard for him. Huamin's heart ached as she walked over. She picked up a blanket and gently covered Qin Chu with it. Then, she turned around to leave, but Qin Chu grabbed her arm. Honey, don't go, he said gently. Chapter 621. Huamin turned around and saw that Qin Chu had already opened his eyes. You must be tired. Get some sleep, I'll go out and take care of some other things for you. Don't, come here and sit down. Qin Chu gently pulled him over. Huamin was immediately pulled over to Qin Chu's side, and he fell onto the sofa. Qin Chu raised his hand and wrapped it around Huamin's shoulder. To be honest, I should have expected those artists to stand you up, but I didn't think that they'd cut off all communications. I also didn't think that idiot Yang would come looking for you at such a critical moment. You've never dealt with company matters before, so I'm sorry for troubling you. It's not troubling, it's family matters. What's there to be troubled about? Huamin smiled slightly. Yang, I heard that he's a patient that you've been treating recently. He was only able to sign the contract because of you. How should I thank you, honey? Qin Chu looked at his wife lovingly. How did you know? I thought our hospital did a good job of keeping it a secret. Huamin chuckled. No matter how good it is, it can't escape my eyes. But I'm curious, you must have asked Wuxia for Mo Shui to come, right? As expected, nothing could escape Qin Chu's eyes. Wuxia and Mo Shui's relationship was well known to everyone. Huamin lowered his head guiltily. Yeah, and Yang wasn't confirmed before, so I had no choice. We can't have a single superstar, so I asked him for help. It was an emergency, don't be mad. Huamin knew that Qin Chu disliked Wuxia even more so than Suyu. I'm not blaming you, I just wanted to ask, what did you agree to in exchange for his help? Qin Chu gently stroked Huamin's hair. He couldn't help but worry that this fool had made an unfair exchange with Wuxia. Oh, it's nothing, I just agreed to help him deal with Hua Zhenghai. That's what I came back to the Hua Corporation to do anyway. Since we both have the same enemy, it's not like we can't work together. As for Hua Xiqian's real request, Huamin kept it a secret. She didn't dare to say that she was going to the Hua family this weekend, let alone spend the night there. Although he didn't know what Hua Xiqian was up to, based on Qin Chu's personality, He definitely wouldn't be able to remain calm if he found out. Qin Chu nodded, clearly believing Huamin's words. Don't look for him in the future. Negotiating with him is equivalent to signing a contract with a demon. It's very dangerous. Is that necessary? Huamin felt that he could still experience how terrifying Huasi Qin was. However, Mr. Qin always made him sound terrifying. However, since Mr. Qin was never wrong, it was always better to be careful, of course. Then I'll be careful from now on. Okay. Huamin nodded. Then, Qin Chu received a call to deal with the incident in T-City. Huamin, on the other hand, went out to look for Ni Yang. However, she happened to see Ni Yang being scolded by his manager in the dressing room. When Ni Yang saw Huamin, he felt as if he saw his savior. Sister Yingzi was his savior. She saved him from the swamp, so he didn't have the heart to argue with her. Instead, he listened to her. Sister Huamin, Sister Yingzi, what's going on? Oh, you're just in time. I was just about to look for you. What did you do to Ni Yang? Why did you suddenly sign with GK? You're crazy. Also, did you earn a lot of commission from this deal? What did GK give you in return? Yingzi was so angry that her face turned red. Ni Yang signed a 1-year contract with GK behind her back. How was she supposed to explain this to President Su? She was the one who promised to go to Imperial Star. Therefore, when Yingzi saw Huamin, she was immediately enraged. I didn't take a single cent, Huamin calmly explained. Who would believe that? Why would you encourage Ni Yang if you didn't get anything in return? I didn't encourage him. GK offered him the same benefits as Imperial Star. You don't have to tell me the pros and cons. I've been in this industry for so many years. Do you think I don't know? Sister Yingzi continued to go crazy. Finally, Ni Yang couldn't stand it anymore. He calmly interjected, Sister Yingzi, Huamin is President Qin's wife. President Qin's wife? Do you think she's that great? President Qin? Which President Qin? GK's President Qin Chu's wife, Ni Yang continued to explain. Sister Yingzi immediately fell silent. She then looked at Huamin in disbelief, as if she was looking at a monster. Chapter 622. How is that possible? Yingzi couldn't believe it. Huamin didn't look like anything special. She wasn't beautiful, and she didn't come from a rich family. But why was she Qin Chu's woman? Oh no, she wasn't just a woman. Most importantly, she was President Qin's wife. So don't worry, with my relationship with him, I won't mistreat Ni Yang. Since Ni Yang calls me sister, I'll definitely ask my husband to create a bright future for him, Huamin promised with a smile. Yingzi still couldn't digest this shocking news. Before, when she saw Huamin driving an Audi R8, she didn't even bat an eye at it. She thought that she was a mistress of some rich old man. That was why she was biased against Huamin. Little did she know that she was the legitimate daughter-in-law of a rich family. If that was the case, then Ni Yang wouldn't have a problem signing with GK. Most importantly, Huamin still had a chance to cure Ni Yang's illness. Just then, Huamin glanced at Ni Yang. You must be tired today. Go home and get some rest. I've talked to the company and they're giving you a week off. During this time, you won't be accepting any events. Rest well at home, or you can go out and have fun. If you're bored, you can come find me at Southside and talk to me. Thank you, Sister Huamin. Without realizing it, Ni Yang's face was filled with smiles. Then, Huamin looked at Sister Yingzi. Don't worry, as Ni Yang's manager, you still have all of your rights. The company will communicate with you in advance if there's anything. However, I suggest that we don't give him too much work this year because he's still recovering from his illness. In the second half of the year, we'll only give him one big movie with Mo Shui as the male and female leads. It'll definitely be very popular, and it'll be released at the end of the year. Not only will it be good for his reputation, but it'll also be a box office hit. What do you think? Sister Yingzi looked at Huamin for a while and sighed. It's a shame that someone like you isn't a manager. That's not where I want to be. I like hospitals and the smell of formalin. After patting Yingzi's shoulder, Huamin turned around and left. Sister Yingzi, understand me now, right? Huamin is a very reliable person, she won't cheat me. Since everyone offered the same price, why didn't I choose GK? Imperial Star is good, but people keep saying that I'm having an affair with President Su. It's annoying, but this way, we can stop the rumors. You little brat, why didn't you tell me earlier that Huamin is President Qin's wife? I just found out when I was drunk that day. And I Yang felt wronged. Okay, let's not talk about you. Didn't you hear what Huamin said just now? Get some rest. Okay. And I Yang nodded, and then the two of them left the company. After comforting Ni Yang, Huamin went to find Mo Shui. Because they were in a rush this morning, they didn't talk much. She helped him a lot, so he had to thank her. Mo Shui had just finished removing her makeup and was sitting in the dressing room playing with her phone. Of the two assistants, one was massaging her shoulders, and the other was massaging her legs. They looked like big shots. Of course, they looked like big shots. Apparently, when they walked the red carpet together at Cannes, Annie Liang only gave Mo Shui 3 seconds of screen time, but Mo Shui gave her a full 2 minutes. It was obvious who she was. Miss, can we talk? Huamin knocked on the door. Mo Shui looked up and smiled when she saw Huamin. Sure. Chapter 623. Seeing this, the two assistants immediately backed out of the room. Huamin walked over and leaned against the dressing table. Thank you for your hard work today. Since I signed a contract with GK, it's my job to walk the red carpet. A young lady, you don't have to worry about it. After chatting for a while, Huamin realized that not only was Mo Shui pretty and elegant, but most importantly, she was well-mannered. She was just as well-mannered as those young ladies from prestigious families, and she spoke with elegance. Her expressions were just right. She wasn't arrogant, pretentious, humble, or pretentious. However, no matter how outstanding she was, she couldn't marry into the Hua family. Huamin didn't think that Hua Jinghai had the power to stop Hua Xiqian from marrying the woman he loved. In the end, Hua Xiqian himself was the reason. If you have any requests in the future, the company won't mistreat you. Although I'm not an employee of GK, I have absolute authority. I signed you and Ni Yang at a critical time, so I won't let you down. Trust me. Huamin was sincere, so his words were a promise. Mo Shui only smiled when she heard this. Actually, you should know why I came. I don't care about money, I have both fame and money. You know that I originally wanted to go to the States to pursue my career. I know. Huamin nodded. But one phone call from him changed all my plans. Mo Shui continued to smile. You and him, you too? Huamin wasn't good at prying into other people's privacy, but Mo Shui's ambiguous words made him unsure if Hua Xiqian and Mo Shui were still in a relationship. We've never been together, huh? Huamin was completely shocked by her words. Could it be that the rumors outside were all false? However, there were pictures of Mo Shui staying in Hua Xiqian's mansion for 3 consecutive days. Don't be surprised. What I mean is, we've never been in a relationship. We're just partners in bed. Huamin didn't say anything. He just looked at her quietly. But I'm not a good bedmate because I'm in love with him. Mo Shui smiled bitterly and took out a pack of cigarettes. Do you mind? Mo Shui asked Huamin. Huamin shook his head. Do you want one? Huamin still shook his head. Mo Shui put the cigarette in her mouth and took out a lighter to light it. Then she took a deep breath and laughed. I know he doesn't love me, but I'm still willing to do anything for him. This is probably the most foolish thing about us women. It sounds like your story is quite sad, Huamin said softly. Sad? No, not at all. To this day, I still have to thank him. Without him, I wouldn't be where I am today. I came from an ordinary family and only participated in the New Star editions because I was lucky. He happened to be there and asked me if I wanted to be famous. I said yes, and he supported me for 7 years without hesitation. In these 7 years, I went from a small-time actress to an international star and experienced a lot. Without him, I would never be where I am today. No matter how he treats me, I'm still grateful to him. It was obvious that Emo Shui had deep feelings for Huo Xiqian. It's not easy to know how to be grateful. You're a sentimental woman. Huo Min looked at her. Maybe. A while ago, he told me to go to the States, leave this place and never come back. I don't want to leave, but I don't want to reject him. Now that he's telling me to go to GK, I'm here. Thank you for coming to GK, we won't let you down. Huo Min was obviously referring to her and Qin Chu. No, I don't care about other people's attitudes. I just don't want to disappoint him. Emo Shui finished her cigarette and threw it on the ground to extinguish it. There's something I'm curious about, Emo Shui said. What is it? Huo Min looked at her. Why is he so nice to you? Emo Shui looked at Huo Min and asked. Chapter 624. Huo Min's heart skipped a beat, and then she gulped. To be honest, Emo Shui's words made her feel a little guilty. As for why she felt guilty, she didn't know either. Maybe because I'm her little sister, Huo Min forced herself to answer. How is that possible? You're both her little sisters, but she treats you so differently from Huo Yanyan. Emo Shui's expression became complicated. Maybe it's because we're on the same side. You should know that the Huo Corporation's internal strife has already begun, and I am already on his side. Really? Maybe that's why. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Anyways, there are benefits to staying here. GK is a huge financial group, and I'm sure the future will be exciting. Definitely. After talking to Emo Shui, Huo Min walked out with a heavy heart. Emo Shui was willing to sacrifice her future just for Huo Xiqian's words. So why did Huo Xiqian use so many resources just to invite her back to the Huo family for one night? The answer seemed to be on the verge of popping out. However, Huo Min didn't dare to think about it, because it didn't make sense. Even though they weren't related by blood, they were still siblings in name. Could Huo Xiqian be? A young lady. Yang interrupted him. Yeah. The president told me to tell you to go downstairs. He's waiting for you. Okay. Huo Min nodded, then turned around and walked downstairs. News of a young lady's efforts to turn the tides had already spread. Everyone at GK was talking about this. Even though Qin Chu hadn't publicly introduced Huo Min's identity, everyone already knew what was going on. On the way, many employees happily greeted Huo Min. Hello, a young lady. Good afternoon, a young lady. A young lady. Huo Min nodded at them one by one. She met someone she knew. The man who flirted with her at the bar gave her his business card and showed off that he was from GK. If Huo Min remembered correctly, that person should be called Wang Tao. When Wang Tao saw Huo Min, he was scared to death. With him was a male colleague from the department, 2 people. Hello, a young lady. The colleague immediately greeted her. Wang Tao felt quite awkward and lowered his head as he said, Hello, a young lady. Huo Min smiled. Are you used to working here? Wang Tao was stunned. Then he nodded. Very good. I'm used to it. That's good. Work hard. Just then the elevator arrived. Huo Min walked into the elevator. Wang Tao was still scared out of his wits. When Huo Min came downstairs, he was still in shock. Wang Tao, do you know a young lady? The man asked. No. Wang Tao immediately denied it. Then why did she ask you? Maybe it was random, Wang Tao said guiltily. Perhaps the thing he regretted the most in his life was hitting on her at the bar. If Huo Min said anything, he would be fired at any time. If that happened, the job that he worked so hard for so many years would be gone. However, a young lady didn't. This made him feel a little relieved. He swore that he would never hit on her at a bar again, because he never knew who he would piss off. When Huo Min came downstairs, he saw Qin Chu's Maybach parked at the door. Honey, where are we going? Get in first. I'll let Xiao Yang drive your car home later. Okay. Huo Min smiled. He opened the door to the passenger seat and got in. I'll take you to Yunding Mountain for a couple of days this weekend, okay? Qin Chu said as he drove. Not this weekend. Huo Min immediately rejected. What's wrong? Qin Chu tilted his head and looked at her in confusion. Chapter 625. I might have to work overtime this weekend. In the end, Huamin chose to lie. She didn't want Qin Chu to know that she agreed to Hua Xiqian's personal request for the benefit of the company. Although the request wasn't too much, she didn't dare to tell Qin Chu, "Oh, next week then, it's fine." Qin Chu didn't think too much about it. The two drove for around 20 minutes before arriving at a spicy crayfish restaurant. It wasn't big, but the decor was very stylish. It looked a bit like an ancient inn and was completely built with wooden planks. Crayfish? You like crayfish? Huamin and Qin Chu had been together for a long time, but Qin Chu didn't like crayfish, so she was a bit surprised. Someone's treating. Qin Chu smiled mysteriously. He held Huamin's hand and walked into a private room. There were 3 people sitting inside. One of them was the owner of Seductive Fox, Rick. The other 2 were the international superstars, Christina and Andrew, who were the finale of the show. Qin Chu, come sit over here. Andrew enthusiastically greeted Qin Chu. Let me introduce you. This is my wife, Huamin. Qin Chu introduced her in fluent American English. Huamin smiled slightly and replied in fluent English, "Hi, my name is Huamin, nice to meet you." Then, the 2 sat down. Then, Huamin was surprised to find that these people were all conversing in American English. The good thing was that she learned all the spoken languages in high school, so it wasn't difficult at all. But, the only awkward thing was that these people were all speaking American English, while Huamin didn't go abroad, so she was speaking Chinglish. It was a bit funny. Christina held Huamin's hand intimately and kept praising it in English. "You have so many delicious dishes here. I like crayfish very much and dumplings. They taste very good and leave a lasting aftertaste." Huamin smiled and replied, "If you like it, eat more and stay for a few more days." "No, we still have a lot of things to do. If Qin didn't give us a chance this time, who knows when we'd be able to come here. It's nice to meet you." Although Christina was a superstar, she was still younger than Huamin. Because Americans matured early, she debuted at the age of 16 and shot some magazine advertisements. Now, she was only 21. Young and beautiful, she took out her phone and enthusiastically took selfies with Huamin. She even said to Qin Chu, "Your wife is amazing. You're so lucky." Qin Chu smiled happily. "Indeed, marrying her is the best thing that happened to me in my life." Rick sat beside Qin Chu and whispered, "Wang Dehai has been caught and is on the way back to China. What do you plan to do with him?" "Let's catch him first. I have something to ask him." "Okay." Rick was a man of few words, but he was very efficient. Andrew was Qin Chu's good friend for many years, so he was not unfamiliar with him at all. The 3 men chatted in American English. Huamin also took out her phone and took selfies with Christina. She never liked to show off, but this time, she really wanted to show off on her WeChat moments, so she used a beauty camera to beautify her skin and posted it on her WeChat moments. In the photo, one of them was Asian and the other was Caucasian. Both of them had bright smiles on their faces. Huamin rarely took selfies, so this was a rare occasion. So, she turned on her pretentious mode for the first time. "Anna is a very nice person. She loves to eat crayfish." This was the caption that she attached to the photo. Then, the moment the photo was posted on her WeChat moments, the comments section exploded within 3 minutes. Chapter 626. Where are you? I want to go too. I love Christina the most. Also, why are you with her? You're so shameless. Why didn't you call me when something good happened? Our friendship is going to capsize. Zhu Lingling was the first to comment. Haha, didn't you watch GK's opening ceremony today? I even walked the red carpet, Huamin asked back. I watched the live broadcast, but which one was you? Zhu Lingling was confused. Screw you. Zhu Lingling had been friends with him for years, but she didn't recognize him. He was speechless. Cut the crap and get me an autograph. Quick. No, I'll embarrass myself if I get an autograph right now, because we're eating crayfish together. I'm so jealous. I'm in Y City right now, or else I'd be looking for you. You're freeloading off a celebrity. Haha, Andrew is so handsome, I really want to sleep with him. As soon as she finished commenting, Gao Ran immediately replied, if you don't have a diamond, don't try to make porcelain. Can you even handle his size? How can I not handle it? It's still better than your 3-inch sausage. Huamin was speechless as he quietly replied, you two are so dirty, and, you even know his size? When did you two start flirting? Don't listen to her nonsense, I didn't touch her. Gao Ran immediately tried to clear his name. Bullshit, you didn't touch her. Last time at the hotel, did you fucking hug a husky? Zhu Lingling was furious. Huamin held onto his phone and laughed out loud. Qin Chu turned his head and looked at Huamin. What are you so happy about? Huamin didn't say anything. He picked up his phone and showed it to Qin Chu. Qin Chu also smiled. Gao Ran and Zhu Lingling were a pair of clowns sent by monkeys. It would be a waste of his talent if he didn't go into crosstalk. This meal of crayfish was very enjoyable. Huamin only cared about taking photos and chatting with Christina. When he turned around, Qin Chu had already peeled off a lot of crayfish meat for Huamin. When Huamin saw the white crayfish, he immediately had an appetite and ate a few. Qin Chu gently picked up a tissue and wiped her mouth as if he was taking care of a child. Andrew chuckled and said in English, if I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, it would have been hard to imagine that Qin could have such a gentle side. I remember the first time I saw him at Harvard. He was as cold as the South Pole. Rick smiled and replied, that depends on who he is with. To his wife, he will always be the best husband. Christina said enviously, Andrew, if you treat his wife like how Qin treats his wife, I'll marry you. But I'm not going to propose to you. Andrew smiled. Anna turned around and hit Andrew with a smile. The atmosphere was very lively. Huamin suddenly felt emotional. No matter how big of a celebrity she was still just a normal person. She could cry, laugh, and make a fuss. When they were really together, she was still very approachable. After dinner, the group went to Rick's place for karaoke, on the top floor of Seductive Fox. As Huamin was walking down the hallway with Anna, he was suddenly startled by Tang Chuan rushing out. Goddess, can you give me an autograph? Anna was so scared that she immediately hid behind Huamin. Don't be scared, he's my friend, Huamin introduced him. Head nurse, hurry up and tell her that I'm a big fan of hers. Tang Chuan was impatient. If Wei Liao hadn't stopped him today, he would have already done it. During the opening ceremony, he already wanted to rush over. Tang Chuan, does your mom know that you're kissing up to that foreign girl? Not far behind him was a teasing Wei Liao. Next to him was Su Yu, who was wearing a white Versace. Looking at Su Yu, Huamin stopped smiling. Chapter 627. Ever since she posted that post on her WeChat friend circle, many people had privately messaged her to ask for autographs from the two international superstars. Even Huang Yu and Jixin, those two little fresh meats, couldn't escape the attention. Huamin regretted posting those photos to show off. It was better to keep a low profile and avoid trouble. However, she didn't think that even a rich playboy like Tang Chuan would be obsessed with Christina. It seemed like she had to go back and see which vampire count he was. He must be very good looking, or else everyone wouldn't be so crazy about him. Christina, they're all my friends. Can I get your autographs? Huamin turned around and asked in English. Head nurse, your English is pretty good, Tang Chuan flattered with a smile on his face. Huamin ignored him and directly talked to Christina. As soon as Christina heard that they were Huamin's friends, she no longer had any concerns. In the luxurious hallway of Seductive Fox, Tang Chuan took out his phone and took photos like crazy, then posted them on his WeChat friend circle to show off. Wei Liao couldn't help but come over to take a photo with Christina. Lord Su, are you coming or not? Wei Liao smiled at Su Yu. Of course, Su Yu wasn't interested in Christina at all. All of his attention was on Huamin. He walked over and looked at Huamin. This girl sure is capable, signing two superstars at once. She's slapping me in the face. It's just fair competition. Plus, you cut off Qin Chu's communication with HQ. Isn't that cruel? Cut off communication? Su Yu froze slightly. Wasn't it you? Huamin froze again. No, I'm not that bored. If I hired a hacker, I would have hacked today's live stream so that no one could see what happened. You're right. Huamin had to think carefully. Other than Su Yu, who else would do something to GK and Qin Chu? I didn't do it, I won't take the blame, Su Yu explained. Ah. Huamin laughed. What are you laughing at? Su Yu was speechless. You make it sound like you're the scapegoat all the time. Huamin laughed. I didn't before, but ever since you appeared, I've been wronged, Su Yu said honestly. It seems that my presence in your life make you look unlucky, Huaz's teased Christina. Christina, 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 Christina and Christina, 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 Christina's Christina, Christina and Christina, for Christina, 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 Christina. Su Yu was rarely this emotional, so Christina didn't want to continue the conversation. She didn't want things to get awkward again. Before she could say more, Rick walked out. It's time to go in, everyone's waiting for you. Rick glanced at Huamin and then looked at Su Yu. Okay. Huamin held onto Anna's hand and walked into the private room. Huamin, remember to give me Anna's contact information. I'll go to the States to see her soon, huh? Tang Chuan shouted proudly. Huamin ignored him. Su Yu didn't look away until Christina entered the private room. Rick walked over from the door and greeted him. Young Master Su. Mr. Rick, you seem to be very close to President Qin. Su Yu had noticed their relationship a long time ago. If Qin Chu went out to play, he would go straight to Seductive Fox. However, Su Yu and the others were different. They went to all the nightclubs in Sea City, and they even went to many private clubs. The most suspicious thing was that when Zhou Guangming got into trouble here, the Zhou family erased the video, but Qin Chu was still able to get his hands on the full version. This could only mean that Seductive Fox gave it to him. Su Yu knew this very well. Therefore, he was certain that the boss of Seductive Fox had a special relationship with Qin Chu. Chapter 628. He's an old friend I met in the States. Rick didn't try to hide anything. Oh, no wonder. Wei Liao suddenly realized what was going on. Rick and Qin Chu were both low-key tycoons. They had plenty of money, but they never flaunted it. After all, Rick's family was involved in shady businesses. After chatting for a bit, Rick turned around and returned to Qin Chu's private room. After singing for a while, they left Seductive Fox. Qin Chu took Huamin home. Honey, even though they're friends, we can't let Andrew and Anna come here for nothing. We have to pay them, Huamin reminded him. Don't worry, I've already arranged everything. They won't take the money. I prepared a bunch of Chinese porcelain for them to take away. Anna always said that she likes you. Qin Chu smiled proudly. Anna's a great person too. She's passionate and unrestrained. It's true that Americans are cheerful and have good personalities. Huamian smiled. Qin Chu drove all the way back to South Hill Manor. Even though it was midnight, South Hill Manor was still brightly lit. The security guards at the door took turns 24 hours a day. When Uncle Li saw them, he immediately walked up to them. Sir, would you like supper? Qin Chu turned around and looked at Huamin. Are you hungry? Honey? Huamin shook her head. Then I'll tell the kitchen to bring out the sweet soup for Madam. Uncle Li turned around as he spoke. Huamin happily held onto Qin Chu's hand. It's so nice to have you at home. Then I'll take you with me next time. Qin Chu lovingly raised his finger and tapped the tip of her nose. I want to, but Southside has been too busy lately. Ever since Deputy Director Gu's accident, there hasn't been an acting director. President Wu sometimes comes over for meetings, but he has a lot of stuff to deal with. Anyways, it's a headache. Don't work so hard. Work is unlimited, so is health. I know. The two of them sat in the living room and drank some sweet soup before going upstairs. As soon as Huamin came out of the shower, he saw Qin Chu pick up his jacket and put it on. Are you going out? I have something urgent to deal with. Go to sleep first, honey. All right. Huamin was a little disappointed. Qin Chu had finally returned, but he had to leave again. Good girl. Qin Chu kissed her forehead and turned to go downstairs. After Qin Chu left, Huamin lay on the bed, exhausted. Everything that had happened today felt like a dream. She actually resolved GK's public relations crisis, Ni Yang, Mo Shui. Now that he thought about it, he was really lucky. At that moment, Wu Xiaoxue, who had been silent for a long time, suddenly sent a WeChat message to Huamin. It was a smiley face. Huamin immediately replied with a grinning emoji. I went into labor prematurely. I gave birth to my daughter last night. She's very small, less than 2 kilograms, but she's very healthy. Huh. She's only 7 months old. Huamin was stunned. That bitch, He-Man, came to my house. She's pregnant too. She came to provoke me, so I ended up fighting with her. In the end, I went into labor prematurely, but she wasn't any better. She also had a miscarriage. Huamin's heart skipped a beat. Then he asked anxiously, what about Ning Ziyuan? What did he say? He came by last night, took one look at the baby and then left. I think he went to find another woman. Aside from He-Man, he also hooked up with a young model. She's born in the 90s. Xiaoxue, it's been hard on you. Huamin really sympathized with Wu Xiaoxue at that moment. Wu Xiaoxue sent a 2-second voice message with a bitter smile. Chapter 629. Huamin, do you believe in karma? I think it's karma that brought me to where I am today. When I was with Ning Ziyuan, you guys hadn't completely broken up yet. At that time, he hooked up with He-Man and then me. I naively thought that he loved me, that we were true love, and that you were already in the past. Now that I think about it, how ridiculous was I? You've already jumped out of the fire pit, and I foolishly jumped in. Actually, he wasn't like this in the past. Maybe he was provoked later on. Huamin had been trying hard to recall their university days. Ning Ziyuan was really good to her. Otherwise, why would she have the idea of marrying him in the first place? As for why things turned out this way, Ning Ziyuan said that Huamin provoked her. However, Huamin didn't make him visit prostitutes, find mistresses, go to bars, or be a scumbag. In the end, he had to walk his own path. A man who blamed all his mistakes on a woman was destined to have no future. You're wrong. Maybe he was always like this, but he hid it too well when he was with you. Distance tests a horse's strength, and time reveals a person's heart. After we got married, we were together every day. Of course, I know what his true nature is. I just pity my daughter. Then what are you going to do now? Huamin asked worriedly. Divorce. After I'm done with my confinement, I'll sue. Does your family agree? Yes, my uncle has already decided to fire him because he's no longer useful in the ophthalmology department. He can't even perform a basic surgery. He drinks himself to death every day and drives around in my BMW to attract women, Wu Xiaoxue said angrily. You're still in confinement. You have to take care of your body. Don't get angry. It'll be difficult to treat if you get sick. I know. Then, Wu Xiaoxue said, Huamin. Yeah. I'm leaving. Where are we going? Huamin was stunned. He didn't expect Wu Xiaoxue to ask such a question. After my confinement, I got divorced and went abroad with my daughter. I want to settle down in Seattle. My father bought me a house there. My parents left with me. I don't want to stay in this sad place. Compared to living abroad, I can start over. That's good too. With your aptitude, you'll have a better life there, and your children will also have a better education. Yes, I think so too. Before I leave, let's meet. I'm very grateful to you for saving our lives. Okay, give me a call when the time comes. All right then, rest early. Goodbye. Goodbye. Huamin said goodbye to Wu Xiaoxue and hung up the phone with a heavy heart. Time flies. Wu Xiaoxue was so arrogant when she first came to the hospital. Because she listened to He-Man's instigation, she made things difficult for Huamin. At that time, Huamin was really annoyed by her. He thought she was crazy and had a temper. Now, it seemed that Wu Xiaoxue finally saw through everything. She was a woman who experienced a man's betrayal. Her heart was broken, and she went through a disaster in her life. In the end, she became a mother. Thinking about it, it wasn't easy. But why did Ning Ziyuan become like this? It seemed like she hadn't seen him in a long time, What kind of man would not even care about his own daughter? Qin Chu drove his Maybach all the way to an illegal clinic in the suburbs. Rick was dressed in a black leather jacket. We were going to escort him to T-City, but we were ambushed on the way. He was shot. The other party came prepared. Qin Chu nodded and walked in. He saw a dying middle-aged man lying on the bed with blood on his chest. Since you're going to die, then tell me, who ordered you to do that harmful project? Qin Chu asked coldly, word by word. Chapter 630. No, I can't tell you, the man said with difficulty. Are you going to take the secret to hell with you? Qin Chu looked at him coldly. No, I can't. After the man said these two words, his neck tilted and he stopped breathing. Qin Chu seemed to have expected this outcome. The assassin he sent was very professional and killed him with one shot. The only reason he was able to hold on until Qin Chu arrived was because Rick injected a large amount of cardiotonic into his heart. What? He didn't say it was him? Rick asked. He didn't say anything. The other party probably has something on him, or he's using his family to threaten him, Qin Chu analyzed. Rick nodded. Did you offend someone recently? Could it be Suyu? No, Suyu wouldn't be so despicable. This person is extremely ruthless and doesn't leave anyone alive. He takes lives at every turn. It's not Suyu's style, then that's troublesome. You're out in the open and the enemy is in the dark, Rick said in a serious tone. It's not troublesome. It seems like he just wants to cause trouble for me. He didn't threaten me physically. I'm more worried about my wife. Rick, when I'm not in the city, keep an eye on her for me. Don't let anyone get close to her. Got it. Rick nodded. If someone wanted to deal with Qin Chu, the best way was to capture Huamin. So, Huamin probably didn't know that someone was secretly watching her every day at work to protect her. Qin Chu really didn't want anything to happen to her. When Qin Chu returned home, Huamin was already fast asleep. He took a shower in another bathroom because he didn't want to wake Huamin up. Then he quietly got into bed and gently hugged her. At that moment, Huamin was deep in her dream. She dreamt that she was standing in a forest. Then a man stood in front of her, but she couldn't see his face clearly. Who are you? Huamin asked. I'm dead. Dad? Huamin repeated, but it definitely wasn't Hua Jinghai's voice. Who are you? Huamin wanted to walk over and take a closer look at her. However, no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't move at all. Mian? I'm Dad. Then she watched as the man gradually walked away. Dad, don't go. Huamin suddenly woke up. Qin Chu immediately hugged her. Did you have a nightmare? Huamin was panting heavily. I dreamt of a man. He said he was my father. Don't worry, I've been looking for people to investigate your background. I'll definitely help you find them. Qin Chu knew that ever since Huamin found out that she wasn't the daughter of the Hua family, she had been trying to find her family. Unfortunately, the road to finding clues was full of difficulties, and there were always people obstructing them. Moreover, the enemy was in the dark, and they were in the light. It was very difficult. Honey, do you think they're already dead? Huamin suddenly thought sadly. Don't worry, I think your mom and dad are both here. Maybe there are other siblings as well? Qin Chu gently stroked her hair and comforted her. The next morning, Qin Chu drove Huamin to work at South Side, and then he got on a plane and flew directly to T-City. The accident hadn't been properly handled, and the person in charge of the tofu dregs project, Wang Lin, had died tragically. Qin Chu couldn't push the blame onto someone who died, right? Therefore, he had to do it himself. If there was no other choice, he would take the blame. After all, 4 people died. Including Wang Lin, 5 lives were lost in this incident. Qin Chu suddenly felt that this hidden enemy was very scary. He was 100 times scarier than Suyu, because he could control people's lives at any time. In the blink of an eye, it was the weekend, after work. Before Huamin walked out of the door, she saw Hua Xiqian standing in front of the black Porsche. Little sister Mian, isn't it time to leave with me today? Hua Xiqian smiled with a lollipop in his mouth. Chapter 631. Got it. Huamin glanced at Huasiqian, then quietly left the house and got into his Audi R8. The two of them each drove towards Huamin's house. The good thing was that Qin Chu was still in T-City. Otherwise, if he was at home, he would never allow her to stay over at the Hua mansion. What kind of people were the Hua family? They were a pack of wolves, tigers, and leopards. Half an hour later, at the Hua mansion, Huamin took off his white lab coat and put on a simple outfit. However, ever since she married Qin Chu, she had been wearing designer clothes. Today, she wore DG's new Venetian floral dress with a white jacket and a pair of nude pink heels. The heels weren't high, but they were delicate and cute. When Huamin walked in, everyone was slightly surprised. "Mian, you're back." Hua Jinghai sat on the European-style sofa in the living room and asked. Huamin's reaction was still cold. "You know that today is Xiqian's birthday? It's rare for so many people to gather together," Hua Jinghai said meaningfully. Huamin froze slightly, then looked at Huasiqian. So today was his birthday, but he didn't say anything. Huasiqian didn't even buy a present or a cake when she came. This was really awkward. "It's almost time to eat, eh? Where's Yanyan? Is she not back yet?" Madame Hua Jinghai, Jiang Hong, asked hypocritically as she sat down beside Hua Jinghai. Huasi was playing with his phone as he replied, "My sister said her car broke down and she went to the 4S shop to get it fixed. She told us to eat first. Can't she just leave the car there and come back first?" "This girl is getting more and more ridiculous," Hua Jinghai said angrily. "Did your car really break down? Or did you not want to come out of the bar?" Jiang Hong asked jokingly. Xin Jiani immediately replied, "Sister, what are you talking about? Although Yen Yen is willful, she knows that it's Big Brother's birthday today. She definitely won't mess around. It must be something wrong with the car. Jinghai, Yen Yen's Porsche has been in a lot of accidents recently. Maybe it's because it crashed a few times before. Then, do as you see fit." "All right." Xin Jiani smiled slightly. She not only helped Hua Yen Yen out of trouble, but also got a sports car. Her IQ was really unparalleled. One of the biggest reasons why Huamin hated the Hua family was because it was always filled with gunpowder. It was like being on the battlefield all the time. How was it like being at home? Even if it was a $10 million villa, no matter how luxuriously decorated it was, it could not compare to the warmth of their small courtyard in the slums. That was why money couldn't buy everything. "Since Yen Yen isn't back yet, let's not wait anymore. Let's eat, little sister Mian must be hungry," Huasiqian said with a smile. Then, the group walked to the spacious dining room on the first floor. Huasiqian sat next to Hua Jinghai, while Huamin sat next to Huasiqian. The rest were Jiang Hong, Xinjiani, and Huasi. There were 18 dishes on the table. It seemed like the Hua family really valued Huasiqian's birthday. After all, they hadn't completely fallen out with each other yet. The maid brought over a few bottles of expensive red wine and poured them one by one. When it was Huamin's turn, she immediately covered her wine glass. "I'll just have a drink, I can't drink. Today is a happy day. It's rare for you to come back for dinner, so drink less." Hua Jinghai's words were like an order, not to be rejected. However, Huamin didn't give him any face. "I've been allergic to alcohol recently, so I can't drink anymore. Change it to watermelon juice for me." Huamin looked at the maid and said. The maid seemed to be in a difficult position and looked at Hua Jinghai. Before anyone else could speak, Huasiqian spoke first. "Bring me the watermelon juice." "Yes, young master." Upon Huasiqian's command, the maid immediately ran over to bring over the watermelon juice and placed it next to Huamin. Then, everyone raised their glasses and wished Huasiqian a happy birthday. "Little sister Mian, don't you want to say something?" Huasiqian tilted his head and looked at Huamin with a half-smile. "I wish you a child soon." Huamin's words made everyone laugh. You're tuning in to the Wang Lin's Journey YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.